Hello and welcome back to the Pop Tab Podcast, the podcast that's as sweet as soda for breakfast. I'm one of your hosts, Brent Kruscke, the upholder of the unpopular opinion, and joining me today, as always, is the ghost host, Jacob Stokes.
Boo!
Today, or actually, what do I usually do after that? Oh, Pop Tab Podcast is filmed in front of a live Twitch audience. If you want to be part of that audience, head on over to twitch.tv/RealPixel so you can be part of the conversation. I'm just so excited to get to today because we have so much
20th
stuff.
episode?
There's just a lot of stuff today. So I'm like, oh, let's get into it. Let's start going. But we usually start out with a little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping day is a little weird. Stream schedule is going to be a little wonky because we've got an extra bonus stream on Wednesday. I'll be streaming with CGB, Voxy, Krim, and a bunch of other YouTube people playing a Lockdown Protocol. So that'll happen around 2 o'clock on Wednesday Eastern time. And then Thursday I'll be playing Spider-Man because I want to get through that game. And then Friday I'll probably be, if I haven't finished Spider-Man, finishing Spider-Man. And then I'm in debate about either jumping to Indiana Jones because I want to really play that, or Beautiful James just got me Death Stranding. Beautiful James just got me Death Stranding that I do want to jump to as well. So, but then I also have Miles Morales and the other Spider-Man I want to do, but I know I have to pay for those because I had to pay for the first Spider-Man. So it's like, well, I don't know if I want to jump to those right away.
The other Spider-Man games? I'm logged in.
I tried. It didn't work. Because I tried to download Spider-Man through your account and then play it on the PlayStation. It still said I had to buy it.
Interesting. That one I think I own that one on physical copy.
Okay.
The OG.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's why.
Because it came as like a unit. Because I did like a special pre-order. I actually got my PlayStation a day before it came out.
Gotcha.
They were hard to get, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
So check Miles Morales. Because that one was like, if I remember, it was in COVID, and I was not going anywhere. I was just like, download. Chat here.
I didn't check the chat. Luckily, it's still set up and working.
It works.
That's good. But then, Saturday and Sundays are a little up in the air. I might have some work projects to get done, depending how editing and stuff goes with certain videos. And I've got other stream I got to run. There's a lot of stuff going on this week, but I'm going to try to get as much streaming to you because I want to get Spider-Man done before the holidays and other things.
2 business day streams.
I got 2 business day streams this weekend. Oh, right. Yeah. So Saturday or Sunday, there definitely probably won't be a stream because we're streaming
2 to 5.
2 to whatever for a holiday party for Drip for Cover Go Blue. So it's definitely no stream on Sunday. Saturday, I might be able to squeeze something in. I might just tell Bethany, like, hop on. We're playing Throne and Liberty all day because that's what we've been doing every night for the past week.
Sunday, you said?
Saturday.
Maybe.
So, but yeah, so let's schedule for streams.
Much fun with it, huh? I noticed you hopped on, I don't know, I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago.
I hopped on last night after we got done.
Maybe it was. No, because no, maybe it was. Even though I was on my computer, I wasn't gaming. But I was uploading to Plex.
Yeah. Did those files work?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go.
I could have, especially because today I can kind of lollygag in. I could have finished it yesterday, but I was like, I don't want to blitz it out in a single night. Like I want to savor it just a little bit.
Right.
So I'm 2 episodes away.
Okay, cool.
Finishing it.
Well, I'm glad they worked.
It didn't get my my review yet.
Not yet. Okay. For anyone who doesn't know, I got Stokes access to a specific series of Gundam that he was having trouble finding.
True.
Luckily, he reached out to the person that's had to do some digging for anime before, so we got it done.
Which is every anime fan, seemingly.
Yes, essentially.
I don't want to know the type of sites Derek's been on.
Right, yeah. There's
How many pop-ups has he had to, like, click out of before he can finally... There we go.
It works.
It's a 15 ad per video kind of situation.
Yep, it's how it goes. But anyway, I'm glad they worked, because I was like, I got home and I was like, oh, I should text. Nah, I won't text him. He might not even check tonight. I'll wait until see. So I'm glad they worked.
The extras were just was a textless intro, a textless outro, like the music.
Oh, okay.
And the outro's in black and white. So there's a third option that's the textless outro in color.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, whoever wants this, I guess. Sure, I'm glad you have it. But so I didn't upload any extras, but it was nice because I've actually never put a TV show on a Plex, period. And it takes very, very specific formatting, where it's like you format the file in a movie, done. If I had special features, it can get weird. But then you just have to rename the special features. In this one, you have to make the file the correct name, just like the movie. You have to put a season file in, and then every episode has to have the title of the series, so like the first folder.
Yep.
The season and episode, like SO1EO1, then the name of the episode.
Dang, that's a lot.
To like correctly find and pull the metadata, and then to upload it so that it doesn't say it's a 6-episode series, so it doesn't say you have 6 TV shows available. It says you have one TV show
with all the episodes.
Yes, and then before I did the season, I said you have one thing. Here's 6 seasons with 1 episode in each, and I was like, oh, I need to put them into a season, then do it. And then when you did that, it like changed my entire. It like put the image of the Gundam falling out of the backpack on his like shoulder bag. That wasn't there before. So for metadata purposes,
that's a great image too.
It's a really good image.
It's really.
It's
good.
also their every anime seemingly has a shot in the middle that's like dun 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 dun.
Yep, the commercial break. Yeah.
There's other like fade to black commercial breaks in these as well, oftentimes. But there's also a very heavy, hard middle cut. Those middle cuts have really good images. A smiling kid with a helmet on, typed out "War in the Pocket" in the like spray on, stencil font.
Yeah.
And then the second one is his back pocket full of stuff, but there's a missile that's like ripped through the bottom of his pocket and it's like sticking out the top. Like it's just a little too long for his pocket. And I was like, that's sick.
My favorite interstitial, I was watching Gunbuster, and it was just like sci-fi in space fighting robots. Usually it ends with like a girl like screaming like no or something like really upset. Then it cuts to like this black screen and this neon font, Gunbuster. And then it cuts back in, Gunbuster. And then we're back in, rockets. And I'm like, yeah, that really changes the tone. I've seen a lot of TikToks where they're like, this is what it's like with like anime endings. And it's like some character gets killed and they're like, oh my God. And it cuts to the credits. It's like, do-di-do-di-do-di-do-di-do. And everyone's like dancing together. And I'm like, yeah, there's definitely some tonal shifts in anime. They're not like really thinking about each episode individually or each moment. It's like, here's the themes we want to feel.
Well, so far, because I've only seen 3 Gundam series or in the third one, every song at the end is quite somber.
Oh yeah,
it's like it's sometimes we won the day, know? And I was like, they act like a character died because they kill a lot of motherfuckers in that show. A lot of people dying, a lot of main characters dying.
Oh, okay, good.
At least in the
it kind of it makes sense for, at least from what I'm seeing, because Gundam's much shorter. Like the series seems to be shorter than most anime series that'll run 200 episodes.
The difference is that they still have probably the same amount of, well, not as One Piece because that's obviously an outlier.
Yeah.
But a longer running anime. They seem to have that many episodes. It's not Naruto or Dragon Ball and then Z and then Super. It's like there's 45 Gundam series you have to watch. And there's 3 defined timelines where the third one is actually everything's its own timeline. Like they're just segments.
Did you know the One Piece is only the 16th longest anime? Isn't that crazy?
They count The Simpsons?
No.
Oh.
No, there's 15 other animes longer. I think the number one...
Like cartoons, like visual OVAs.
Yeah,
I'm learning these are called.
I think the longest anime is like 4,300 and something episodes or something. I looked at the list.
Minutes?
No, episodes, or like how long an episode is.
Well, I'm saying because if it's minutes, maybe One Piece wins because they're 20 minutes. Maybe it's 10-minute episodes. I mean that still wouldn't do the right math, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to double check. I just remember looking at a stat. They're like, "You think One Piece is long? It's actually only the 16th longest." I went, "Excuse me?" I'd like, even if it was like third, I'd be like, "Yeah, there's 2 outliers, cool." But when you said 16th, I went, "There's 15 other animes that have over 1,200 episodes." That's crazy.
That is interesting. I'm looking. This is Wikipedia, but they do have it listed by episode count. One Piece is 16.
There it is.
Wow, they're actually within a pretty. There's an outlier here towards the end at 2,000 plus.
Oh, I thought 4,000 was one, but not.
It's 1,100 right now.
Yep.
Here you go. They do some of them 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 11 minutes, 5. There are plenty that have the 20 to 26 minute range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ahead of it. So I'd say it's like 8th, really.
So 8th based on time.
But I would put it if you asked me that question, I'd be like, oh, so it's not number 1, number 2. I would just say it's number 2.
But that top one, I don't think anything will touch that. 2,700 episodes at 20 something minutes an episode.
That? Nobody.
I think if I remember right, it's not it's not. There's not much of an overarching story. It's more of like these are just like it's almost sitcom anime. It's like here's our day-to-day problems.
Where it's like no, there's a season thing.
Yeah,
but it's not.
It's not
liberating
super crazy.
an island.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that was interesting. But then also for a little bit of housekeeping, we talk about things we've watched or things we've played. Like I said, I've been playing a lot of Throne and Liberty, been touching Marvel Rivals, getting more familiar with that. Did you see the winter stuff? The new skins and all that? Looks pretty cool.
For what?
For Marvel Rivals. You got Jeff, you got Venom, you got
Are they
Groot.
out right now? Or are they like announced?
I just saw the ad for it. I didn't check
because
the
I
date.
was actually on today.
Because they've got Venom looks sick, Groot looks really cool. It's like a Christmas tree Santa looking thing. Magic's got like a snowboarder outfit.
Okay, so it's announced its first post-launch special event. I did not notice. I didn't see this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is funny. I feel like I would have gotten an ad for it because I hopped in. All of my every single challenge that I have is complete.
Yeah.
I've completed all the lore books. I think, one reward away from completing the season pass.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm cooking. Mostly because you can finish all of the challenges in
bot matches.
matches, which
that
I'm
helps
like,
a lot.
I just wake up, do a bot match. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Venom does look sweet. Damn.
Yep.
As a boy right there. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude,
Isn't
Groot with the beard.
Yeah, Groot's great.
Rocket's fine. Snowboarder magic. That's cool.
Pretty cool.
Got to do my boy Jeff.
It's
though.
Jeff
with
is,
the black, the purple, the gold.
And they showed an animation, and I don't know if it got confirmed if it's an MVP animation, but there's a one where it's Jeff. He rolls up snowballs and then starts chomping at it, and then he makes a shark out of snow, and he's like he just like, and they're like, oh, if that's like a MVP,
that's funny.
That'd be great.
That's funny. You know, I what we've been playing, what we've been watching, all that. Mm-hmm. I got a gift from a buddy who's very far away, knows shipping is difficult right now.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm just going to get you some currency. He's like, I was going to get you magic cards. You don't need them. I was going to get you soda stream stuff because I make a lot of sodas, apparently enough that he noticed.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you probably have all the syrup you need. I'm not going to send you CO2 canisters. Like, I don't know what to get you. He's like, so I'm just going to get you currency. Would you rather this or this? And I chose. But it was funny because he got it for Overwatch.
Oh.
And he doesn't joke about it as much, mostly Derek, but they joke to me how dead that game is, just like everyone does. It's not them, but joke how dead that game is. And then he and I have been playing a lot of Rivals together.
Oh, this is weird.
And I thought it was funny. I was like, it's actually really appreciated because now I don't have to spend the $40 on the battle pass and get the fancy and whatever to get the currency to buy he sent me $50 worth of currency in there.
Nice. I think
so. I've got a couple Mercy skins I'm looking at, and I'm like, God, do I need a 17th Mercy skin?
There've been a lot of memes or TikToks or whatever about like Marvel Rivals is killing Overwatch or whatever. But
the one you showed me that was we lost the Gooners.
Yeah. But there's one I saw
good.
that they put over. They put Marvel Rivals over Lightning McQueen or Rivals over. The new car from Cars 3, and then Overwatch over Lightning McQueen, and the car's like, hey, you had a good run, buddy. Enjoy your retirement. And it drives away, and Lightning McQueen speeds up and then does that slow motion crash. This is in the trailer, and I went, damn, so sad.
He comes back in that movie, though, right?
I don't know. I didn't see 3.
I think I did. I didn't have it letterboxed.
I saw 1. And I saw 2, and I
saw 2 at the drive-in.
Yeah, 2 was not as good as
2 was a weird one.
Yeah,
let's make him a spy.
But 3, that trailer where Lightning McQueen's just flipping in slow motion, I went, damn, this is cool. When are we gonna?
It looked good. Too.
I had the question. I watched Moana 2, and I asked. I was like, when are we gonna get not an adult movie, but like just a rated R or hard PG-13 movie in this animation style? It's so cool, and there's so great fightings and all this. It's just why.
Whatever money they make at the theater, they're making tenfold on toys and blankets and other bullshit that they sell to kids.
Right.
There's no world that they're selling their toys to young adults.
But what I'm saying is we test the waters by making an adaptation of something that already exists, so they already have a fan base baked in.
So it's the opposite of taking a Disney movie and live actioning it.
Yes.
Take a live action Disney movie and
not even Disney, like pick a book series or something that people are like, we need an adaptation. Everyone's like, I don't know how we do an adaptation and blah blah blah. Be like, cool, we'll animate it in this style. Make it like Christopher Paolini's been working on the Inheritance Cycle for a Disney Plus show for years now. I don't know where it's at.
What age would you say is a good age to read that book?
Good age to read that book.
Yeah.
If you don't like devour them really quickly, you can start the first one younger than the later ones, because as he got older, right? Because he wrote the first one when he was 15. As he got older writing them, the books
He
got more
wrote
mature.
Aragon when he was 15 years
Yeah.
old. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing.
So I think he wrote it when he was 15. 16, he did the self-published tour where he was going to school. Because of the length, it goes a little older too, probably like 12, 13.
12? Okay. Well, because Lil Gwen has been reading a popular dragon series called like Wings of Fire, I think.
Okay.
It's a children's book, but my mom's been looking for gifts and was looking at getting more dragon books. And I was like, well, you should get Aragon. But then I was like, should she? Because I think Lil Gwen's 10 right now.
So the first book, there's only probably... and it's so glossed over because there's gore in the books, but it's also... There's no...
Yeah, there's gore in Where the Red Fern Grows. We all had to read that in
there's
school.
no cursing. He does the blah, blah, blah cursed under his breath instead of saying shit quietly to himself.
Sure.
He says, I cursed under my breath all that.
I like the series
so
that make up their own curses.
Yeah.
By the cauldron.
There's
sure.
there's dwarvish curses. There's like curses in other languages.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dwarves like Basel. We hear that a lot, and it's like, well, I'm sure that's a curse. I don't know exactly.
I imagine.
But there's like a part where they go to a town and it got raided by Urgles, and there's like a baby on a spear, and there's like graphic images, but it also is so grotesque the character only looks at it for a second.
It's just graphic words.
Right. Then the character only looks at it for a second. So 10 might be able to scoot away.
We'll hold. She didn't get it.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm too uncertain. I'm looking on like parent ratings online, and I'm like, I don't know where everyone falls. I don't know where family falls on what is comfortable for them. But it's like, what's 10? Is that 4th grade, 5th grade?
Yeah.
It's like 5th grade. I had my first Amityville horror party.
That's the thing.
You know, it was like I had a different measure of 5th grade.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You had
4th
Devil's
grade, 5th grade. Yeah, I went and saw Devil's Rejects, or I was watching Predator. Like that's when I went 12. I probably shot over.
I think 4th grade for me. I got my PSP, so I was watching Predator, First Blood.
So that's where it's like I overshot 12 because I think if you had someone that's like if you had a kid that's like they read and like when I was younger I would read book after book after book after book and they'd be like, all right, we need to get you something new. Like I think it was 6th grade was when I picked up my first Stephen King book. So it's like by that point I could have easily done The Inheritance. So
I think mine was either 5th or 6th grade. I read Pet Sematary because I'd just seen the movie and I was like, oh, I'd like to read the book. But I stopped there. I didn't read another Stephen King book until The Shining, which was like maybe like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
My first time through it was 6th grade, and it's probably on the higher end scale of messed up stuff that happens in his books. So, but then I was like, would jump into Dark Tower and jump out and jump like it was so. For me, I'd be like, Aaron, you could read it 8. If they want to, the only thing is an 8-year-old looks at the size of, even Aragon's really small in comparison to the other ones. But it's like Harry Potter. Harry Potter starts small and then gets bigger as you get bigger. It's kind of the same thing, except for it's.
Yeah, unless they're
one
Netflixable right there, ready to go. You're like, next.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't waiting for the 4th book release or whatever. So,
but anyway.
So what we've been watching, what we've been playing.
I was just saying.
Where do you want to start?
Real quick. Do that with an animated film like Moana, and it'd be great. Yeah. I'd take my money. Sure. Anyway, we can start with what we've been watching because I don't think I have a ton. I have a little bit. 2? I believe so. Let me double check if I logged everything. I believe I did this time. Yes. Besides a TV show, which I'd like to talk about.
Tell me.
So I started watching a TV show.
Hold on.
What?
I thought you were going to tell me you finished.
I finished Friday Night Lights.
There you go. That's good.
I finished Friday. I forgot. Do you log TV shows?
Some of them you can.
Okay.
I don't know where they draw the line, but
so Friday Night Lights ended. I had one episode last time, and I was like, I don't know how they're going to wrap it up. They wrapped it up. A lot of things felt very like, all right, we're going to stop this here, stop this here, stop. Like they could have kept going with the storylines, but they're like, stop. This is where it all ends. But here's the thing: is they wrapped up the show, and the big thing was the coach moves for his wife out of Texas. He's like, Texas is football. Football's Texas. That's my life. And she's like, well, I've got a great job. I want to move out. I've always made sacrifices for your career. Can you make one for me this time? And he's like, no, it's all about this. We're making a super team next year here in Texas. And then in the end, he decides that it's better for him to move.
Good.
I was like, perfect. Cool ending. That's great. But
does it show him starting a football thing in fucking Missouri or whatever?
He moves to Philadelphia. and starts coaching high school in Philadelphia. And I was like, you're telling me the show ended and I could have had a whole show about this coach in Philadelphia? You're killing me. I was like, cool. It wrapped up, but I was like, I only want to know. She became the dean of admissions to a college there. I forget.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So that was her job. And then he started coaching high school football in Philadelphia. And I was like, they could have had something with the Eagles show. Like, I was like, this is I want this show now.
Yeah.
Why? This can't be the
Philadelphia
end.
sports.
I
hear those go well.
I was like, give me the first season where he has to decide to coach in snow for the first time.
Yeah.
Because he's been coaching in Texas. There's always 100 degrees. Now it's freezing. I'm like, the show, it's like, I can't believe this stopped me here.
Anyway.
But overall, that show is definitely a love-hate show for me, where I'm like, if someone's like, should I watch it? I go, there's a lot of downs, but there's a lot of ups. Honestly, the last 2 seasons probably are the best, which is funny because it's like, it gets rid of all of the main characters from the first few seasons kind of either go away or become much smaller characters.
Yeah.
And I didn't dislike them, but the characters near the end, the last 2 seasons, was great. Plus, season 4, Michael B. Jordan comes in, and I'm like, oh. I mean, I'm in.
Like,
I'm sold.
I know you.
Yeah,
I've seen you somewhere.
Exactly.
My dreams.
So, but overall, I enjoyed it. But man, there was some real low moments watching it overall.
I believe it.
I thought for a second, because it ends with the championship game, and it's a final pass to win the game, and they throw the ball up, and it cuts to everybody watching the ball flying through the air. And then as it's falling, it lands in someone else's arms. And it's 18 months later or 6 months later or whatever. And I went, are you not going to tell me who won the championship game? I'm like, if you tell me that you're going to end the show without telling me who won the game, it cuts to a few shots. They're wrapping up loose ends. I'm like, fucking tell me who won this game or I'm going to be so mad. And then it cuts to a guy who throws a football and it puts his hand down. And he's got the championship ring. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm so glad you told me who won.
Yeah.
I was going to be so angry.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
That's clever.
Really teased it out. But
yeah, that's fun.
It was great. So, but
then
then
you watched a different TV show.
But then I had to start a new TV show because I'm like, well, I'm done with Friday Night Lights. What do I do now?
Sure.
I jumped on a new show. Now, there's 2 things that I'm a sucker for. One,
volleyball.
Yes, but in movies in particular or TV shows. One, it's
a band of brothers, a ragtag group of people.
Yeah. Yes.
I was like,
but in my head, I was like, I was thinking
together.
CW teen drama. You got Riverdale, all these football shows, The Flash. I love all that.
Have you seen
stuff.
The 100?
No.
I've heard nothing but great things. Continue.
And then what's the other thing that I'm like, it's in a movie. I love it. I know they're probably not good, but I still love the movie. Treasure hunting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Those are my 2 things.
Well, you have so many more than 2 things, but
those are probably 2 big ones.
Of the things.
So then I'm like, what do I watch next? And I see the show on Netflix called Outer Banks. And I've seen so many ads for it and all that stuff.
I'm well aware. I watched the first season because Shay put it on, fell asleep, and I just watched it all.
And I was like, I don't know anything about the show. And I read, I was like, a group of kids in the water go after pirate treasure. I was like, I'm watching every single minute of the show. I'm halfway through season 2.
It's a popular show.
It's
holy shit.
I just ran through, dude. It's really good. It's so funny.
Starring a cousin of mine.
Really?
No, he's not my cousin.
Oh, okay.
No, but his name's Chase Stokes.
Oh, okay.
The guy, he's the main guy with longer hair.
Oh, okay. John B.
I couldn't. Dude, I watched it. There was only one season. It had come out that week.
Well,
so this was years ago.
There's 2 white male characters. Both of them have the longest hair. One has longer hair, but one's like the main and one's the best friend. You got John B and JJ. This is watching the show is like.
That's not.
Yeah, that's John B.
Hair.
That's not. Yeah, he looks really weird there because he's got a beard.
That's kind of his hair.
Yeah, that's John B.
Yeah,
that's John B. all the way.
There he is. That's the guy I know.
Yep,
that's the John
B.
I'm aware of.
And we got his dad was Big John, Big John, and then So I'm watching this show, and I'm because Bethany won't watch it, but sometimes she'll come in for an episode, and I've got to explain what's going on. So I'm like, so John B. here, right? Okay, he's a pogue.
Dude, this would be such a fun. What is the? Hold on, I got to refresh the page, dude. Look at the shot there. What is going on?
I keep seeing little ads like that. And I go, well, here's the thing.
I watched the first season. How do you get to
season
that?
Season 1
spot?
ends with them. Spoilers for the first season of Outer Banks, but they're out on a boat. Certain characters are on a boat.
That was April 2020.
They thought they're dead. Everyone thinks they're dead. They get picked up by a boat and they go to the Bahamas. And I'm like, in season 2, we're already fleeing the country. This is just going to go crazy. So I see stuff like that. I'm like, we're finding a different treasure because there's the main treasure that they're looking for, which is the gold off the Royal Merchant.
Wow, season 4 actually just came out.
I know. That's probably why it jumped back up on Netflix, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this show. I don't know what this is about."
it just wrapped November 7th because they did a part 1, part 2 kind of release. There is a season 5 confirmed.
Yep, I saw on there it says another season is coming, so I'm very excited. I'm really, really enjoying it. But
and good news, it came out in 2020, 2021. Probably had to take a break because of all the COVID shit. Then 23, 24. So I'm thinking next year we got Outer Banks.
Perfect.
And by we, I mean literally
it's a ton of fun, and I really, really like it. It's one of those things, though, it's like, do I look at it and I go, I see the flaws here? I go, yes, of course. But it's the flaws that I like. The treasure hunting, we found it. Oh, it's not here. Oh, but here's the clue to take it to the next one. Oh, it's there. Oh, but somebody beat us to it. But now we have to steal it back from that.
I mean, that's just TV showing a movie that does the same thing.
Yes.
So there's nothing new there. Nothing bad.
I'm really liking it. But yeah, explaining all the names when I'm like, you got the Kooks and you got the Pogues and you got John B.
It's
and
small
Pope.
Thing,
and
but when I'm looking at episodes for shows on IMDb, it makes me feel really good when the highest rated, like highest starred, and they list it as top rated.
Yeah.
When the top rated episode of the show is the last episode,
the most recent one. Because it's like
the final episode, at least at that point.
Right,
yeah.
Because then
it just makes me. It's like, okay, you're ending on good spots.
Yes.
Like there's something comfy going on here.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking
the final episode of season 4 has a 6 out of 10. Every other episode before it has an 8 out of 10. I'm like, this one didn't end in a place people like.
Yeah,
that's just season 4. It's not the end. So
right. So yeah. That's a big show I've been watching. It's mostly I have it on when I'm either doing like laundry or stuff, or I'm cooking in the morning. It's like my morning show.
Yeah.
Or it'll be like, cool, I've eaten breakfast, and I'm like, oh, I've got like an hour before I have to start doing something. Let me take a second, decompress, watch an episode of the show, and then go do all the stuff I got to do. So, been really enjoying it. If you haven't checked it out and you like anything like Riverdale or Sabrina or any of those like teenage shows, definitely check it out. It's got treasure hunting, and of course, immediately every kid that's like, well, we're 16, but it's like the fate of the world is on these kids' shoulders somehow.
Always.
The whole town is like, oh my God.
It's up to this ragtag group of high school kids.
Exactly. Pose
Teens
for life.
with attitude.
100%. So you haven't done any TV shows besides Gundam?
Gundam. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I did finish Mobile Suit Gundam from 79. It got my heart.
That's good.
I don't know how to review it because it took me a long time to watch it because it was one season of 40-some episodes, 42 episodes.
Yeah.
The ending, as in the last 6 episodes, got like psychedelic, which I was like, holy
You said 79?
Yeah.
That makes
sense.
sense.
I said, holy shit, what is happening? Like the visuals on the screen were like kind of like the moments of sci-fi from
2001?
Yeah, Space Odyssey.
Okay.
I couldn't think of the year. I was like 2021 is so not right. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Where it's just like him staring.
Yeah, and it's lights flashing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was like episodes that were going on where it's just like, oh, we're fighting. Ah! I see the cosmic universe. All right, we're still fighting.
Dang.
And it was just like, holy shit. Like a girl who's like floating in space, her yellow dress like melts and she becomes like this puddle across the screen like multiple times. I being the first Gundam, so not having IP and blah, 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 having 40-some episodes and actually having it be canceled before it was aired, and then it airs and everyone loves it, so then they keep doing something else.
Yeah.
Like they change it up. Then they ended up making a movie. But and then having episodes cut from it, down from I think 60 to 42. It was like it had this very tumultuous thing. So it gets a lot of my forgiveness. There's a lot of reused animations in this.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that's like clear as day because it's a girl in a dress melting on screen.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like, oh, this isn't every time they launch the Gundam from the ship, it's the same animation, which again, those things I don't mind, especially considering how old it is and how less detailed everything is overall.
I mean, that was, I would say, is there's like a 20-year span when even TV shows like Power Rangers used the same shots for the same things. Like it was just how you made cheap TV that you could take chances with.
Yeah. And where every frame isn't something that's just a setup, do the action. Front flip right here real quick. It's animation.
Yes.
But it is also funny how it's like you can see the tricks that are the body's not moving, but the heads are talking.
Oh, yeah.
And then they look, and then they look, and then they look, and then they look, and it's just the same. Yeah, I'm like, okay. Outside of those, flaws, I guess we can call them, for being a 40, almost 50, I guess 45-year TV show. The story was great. It was great seeing everything from origin, the 6 movies tied in, obviously, because it was, I watched them almost backwards, but in chronological order.
Right.
So it was great that I was like, oh, they are fleshing out pieces of this, but also just characters that I was like super on their side. They're the main character of origin. That just they're essentially a bad guy in the show, and then they just like literally kill themselves. They like kamikaze, and I'm like, oh my god, no! Like I love you. I can't imagine watching them the other way now, where I'm like, oh, it's the guy who kamikazes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the one who he was very noble, but he was trying to hurt the white base. Like I can't like this guy. Where I'm super sympathetic from the movies. So I've been watching YouTube videos on how to watch it, because of course there's 1,000 interpretations. Each video tells you the opposite, like back and forth. Watch the movies first, watch the show first, watch the movies first. I settle on watch the movies first.
Okay.
So if the movies don't get you, this show definitely won't.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then it was nice. I was able to finish that and go into something from the 90s. So something that felt and looked a little bit more Dragon Ball Pokemon.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, I'm very familiar with this art style. So I felt a little more comfy there. It was just better animated too, because it was only a 12-episode series. So it was just better animated on each frame. I didn't see a single copied animation. I didn't notice the still body, turning head kind of movements.
And this one's what?
This is Mobile Suit Gundam, the 8th MS team.
Gotcha.
Which is called like Gundam Nam. Like Vietnam Gundam it's war in the jungle. It's the thing that this one did a little different, that a lot of Gundam seems to have as a theme, is look at these kids that go to war. These are younger people still, but these are people who like, they truly enlisted, they went through boot camp, they did everything they were supposed to, and then they became soldiers. Where Mobile Suit Gundam is, they have to evacuate real quick. I need someone to run that. Can someone learn it? You're a child. You're 15. Here, take this. Like the main character of the original Gundam is 15 when he starts and 16 when it ends.
Gotcha.
And he's flying the like biggest, baddest ship and all, 100 kills under the belt kind of thing, and he's just a kid. So
it is funny because I feel like not like a ton of animes that do that, but it's like if you look at, we were talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, that show, you have Team Avatar. They're all like 14, I don't even know, probably like a range in the teens, but they all are like the best in whatever they're doing. And I'm like, how are these teens, one, all found each other to work together, and two, are also all the absolute peak of their bending or their strategies or their whatever? It's just like, I guess we just accept because we're here.
Gundam I felt really good about because every character was shit at their job.
Oh, okay.
Until I would say the last episode, you get to really see every person kind of pull their weight on the ship. Like there's a larger battle where you get to see everyone's needed everywhere and everyone hits some sort of dire situation somewhere along the line. So you get to see everybody pull their weight. But it's like, oh yeah, I guess I've never recognized the transition of this character who was on comms, because she was the one who's like, quick, I just need you to radio this person while this person is manning this cannon and I'm trying to command it. Even the commander is like the freshest out of the academy. He's like 18. He's never commanded anything before. But she does that, and there's a moment where the 15-year-old Amuro from the show doesn't want to fly the Gundam anymore because it's just nonstop. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm physically incapable of like running it. So someone from the comms goes rogue and tries it, and she almost blows up the Gundam and really fucks it. But they give her a second chance on like a smaller ship because they're like, you were brave to try it, whatever. And they fuck it up like 3 times. And then eventually she's just the pilot, and she doesn't do anything spectacular. She doesn't get a shitload of kills, but you're like, oh, I didn't really recognize that you were and the person who's essentially running the daycare steps up into comms and fucks that up a couple times. And by the end of the show, she's still not great at it. The only character that I would say is pretty competent from the beginning is the commander at 18, but it's not like bending where you can see they're the best in the world.
Right.
It's more so you're just the best on the ship, and you're doing a decent job. But there's a lot of I think 4 characters like defect in that show, so he's not keeping everyone together. He's not glue. He's not some people that like disobey orders do the right thing on accident. So even he's not the best. But then there's Amuro, who, of course, the only reason he knows how to fly the Gundam at all is because his dad made it, and he was like studying blueprints to like, because his dad was always gone. So I'm gonna learn about my dad via his work, and he was shit at flying the Gundam in the beginning, and at the end, that's when he unlocks like psychic powers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Were there blueprints for the psychic powers, or?
And it turns out psychic powers, there's actually people who have them all around, and it's because people have been living in space and they're not on Earth.
Oh.
That's the idea. Turns out the whole reason that the main colony that defects and starts the war is doing it is because they're testing this, and they're like realizing there are people who have like the Shining essentially. And they're like, oh, we're different from them, so we need to have our own government. And the guy who tries to do it in the most like ethical way, gets assassinated. But his whole thing was that we're going to become like two different species because of how space is affecting our bodies. So it's because Amuro grew up on a colony.
Oh, okay.
And arguably, like they don't ever explain it, but arguably it's because of stress. Like war stress did it to him. But he's not the first person to have this. And just like Shining, it seems to be something that's like measurable in a lot of people, but it's just levels.
That's cool.
And it's as much as there's two characters that have the I'm talking to you, the actual Shining.
Yeah.
But even then, it's a one-way street because the person's like one person's really good. And that's really it. Everyone else just has like, maybe he's a new type is what they say. They're called new types. God, I'm coughing a lot today.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's so funny. You weren't coughing before, too.
No, it's just all the talking, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it was great. God damn it. It feels like there's like fluid in there.
I don't know if you ever, I don't know
what's going on.
How much you looked into it or whatever, but speaking of the shine in Stephen King's work, you know, there's like a whole subplot in the Dark Tower series where they go and find people. They don't call it the shine in there because they have a different name for it because
of course
it's different people finding it. Is essentially they're going to find those people that have the shine and use them for suck their power out to help bubble all this different stuff. And I was like, that's so weird. Think about like Stephen King writing The Shining, having that power there and be like, cool. And then years later being like, but wait, what if it's everywhere?
Yeah.
And
It seems like everything has to do with light shining. Any intuition moment someone has, like, oh, he shined a little brighter that day or something. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Those were my TV shows. I'm currently watching and almost done with War in the Pocket. War in the Pocket is doing something really cool that I like.
Oh, okay.
When Gundams get hit, they bleed.
Oh, really?
But they don't bleed blood.
Right,
they
right.
bleed like fuel.
Oh, like
liquids, like oil or something.
Like early. I feel like we got a lot of it in the early Transformers movies when I was
we could have, yeah. I don't recall as much, but
well, I just remember them being like they would cut off an arm and there'd be oil coming out of the Transformer's mouth, and I'm like, this is a PG-13 movie, but if all that was blood, this would be a hard R movie. But it's not, so we're all just okay with it because it's just machines getting chopped up and it's green.
It's
and
Halo, purple blood, right?
It's really interesting, but it does happen a lot more than you think.
But this one also has a lot of blood.
Sick.
Like someone gets shot and it's visceral. This is far and away the most visceral of all of them, which is funny because our main character is like 7 years old. And it is really hard. It's unfortunate to watch, actually, because it's all presented as joy, and you're like, this is not going to go well.
It's only 6 episodes, and I think you have it on Plex. I might watch this one.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. Then so far, it doesn't look like there's anything you need to know except that there's space colonies, because they don't really explain anything. They're just like, oh, we're on side 7.
Right.
Which is just... they're on a space colony, and more importantly, they're on a neutral space colony. The only one that even like in the actual original show, they go to this spot as like we need repairs and we can't get repaired without dying, so we're going to go to the neutral space where it is illegal to fight.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting
things happen there, of course, but it is like it's just watching a nuclear bomb, like wire kind of fizz down. I'm like, oh my God, this kid has no idea what he's doing. And it is so unfortunate.
Interesting.
It is like, where is this going to go? Because it can't be good. And it's just, there's too many people that I care about everybody. I'm like, God, no. And the first person you see die in a Gundam in the first episode, they get shot down, but you see them like sideways from like the camera couldn't really be here because it's outside the suit.
Right.
You see them and you see bullets flying through and you watch them get like pierced. And I've never seen that in anything yet. They just, and then they explode.
Right, yeah.
These, I'm like, oh, his cockpit got shot. And I watched a bullet hit his head and blood splatter across the back before it cut. And I was like, oh my God. And then what do? The guy next to him pulls him out of his suit after the fight's ever and cries with him in his arms. And I'm like, and he's just blood everywhere. I was like, holy shit. The pilots' uniforms are white. Mm-hmm. It's the first time I've seen blood on them at all. And it's like when someone gets shot in the arm and it's not lethal, their whole, like just the side is, I'm like, this is tight. I'm really digging this. But they're going grittier with like a 7-year-old in elementary school trading candy with kids protagonist.
That kid could read Aragon.
Yeah, well,
he's probably seen it.
Yeah, I've seen the last frame of this show because apparently it's really just famous and popular. Uh-huh. And it's like, I know things don't go well.
Oh, God.
He's not going to have any interest in reading after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
What movies have you watched?
One movie.
One movie?
No, I guess I didn't put in our Alien movie. We did watch Cloverfield.
Oh.
For a family meal. Better than I remember.
Okay.
But also, I was like, I still don't think I would have chose it. I gave it to Shay. I was like, Shay, you get to choose this because she loves the subgenre of aliens and space movies like that the hardest. So she chose Cloverfield, which was really good on the new soundbar we got Jim for his birthday.
Oh, good.
We got one of those ones that has the Atmos reflecting top speakers and a bigger subwoofer and everything, and it sounded great.
Cloverfield, I really, really like. I don't ever think of it as an alien movie.
Yeah, it was like, as we were watching, I was like, if Shay liked this movie so much, maybe we should have done it for Giant Monster.
Yeah.
Like Underwater was good, but you don't see as much of the monster. You get the little babies. Which this one has the babies too, but also it's like the Giant Monster is like in your face and it doesn't see you and it's like chaos and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's just a baby looking for mommy, but they don't ever say that. And I was like, I still feel bad for this alien.
What an interesting series of movies that all got connected that never led anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they didn't even like build to,
because they didn't mean to connect them. I don't know.
Totally. But it's like
made them as separate movies, and they're like, let's Cloverfield that.
But even with that, you would think they go, let's Cloverfield that, because they had a plan. Like they wanted to go somewhere with it, and just never went there. Like I was waiting for we did this and created these movies to connect this universe because Cloverfield 2 or whatever they were going to call like Cloverfield had to build upon these. So we have the sci-fi lore of whatever that one was, the Cloverfield paradox. And then we have like what it's done to Earth because of the other two. And this is leading to I felt like they were going somewhere and never went anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
J.J. Abrams produced that one?
Yeah.
What's he been doing? What's he up to?
Who knows? He's sitting on his Star Wars money doing fine.
I know. I want another Super 8 from him. I want another J.J. Abrams movie. That's what I want.
Well, I mean, he gave us Star Wars and Star Trek, so it was like
right.
He's just been doing so many licensed things.
Totally. Take a step back, JJ.
He's probably producing the Star Wars shows, too. He's probably like just production for Disney now.
Yeah.
Who knows if he wants to direct anymore?
Well, I'm hoping he and maybe it's not now, but in a few years or something, he's like, I have this one more story I forgot that I did want to tell. And now I have all the money and means. I get to tell this story. That's what I want from him.
Oh, well, that's very hopeful.
Yeah, no, I can hope. I can dream.
You can hope.
I feel like unlike like a Spielberg where I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next Spielberg something. He's had his time to tell his stories. He's made so many movies.
Yeah, I don't need another Spielberg movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But JJ, I feel like he hasn't had that many. Most of them are like he made really good property things, and then he was able to tell a story and property things, maybe one more story. And that's like it.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
Fingers crossed. I love Super 8. So good. There's your Alien movie.
That's not scary. It's a good alien movie though,
but it's good.
I didn't put on Attack the Block.
Okay,
you know what I mean.
That's
there's other good alien movies I thought of.
Okay,
but yeah.
Wait, what level are we at right now in your horror thing?
We're not halfway.
Damn. Okay.
I think we're going into 6. Which, what was the next one? We talked about movies options. Oh, Ghost.
Ghost,
which is a pretty broad.
I'm trying to think of scary. It is very broad.
This is nothing on Lauren because there's no way she could have known. But she was like, oh, well, let me just Google top scary ghost movies. And she started listing them off. And again, literally not her fault. She's just reading me a list. But the number one ghost movie that she found on a list was The Exorcist. And I was like, I can see where this is listed as a number one movie to people.
Yeah.
This is literally not a ghost movie.
No.
It's a possession. The demon has a name, Pazuzu. Like it's literally not ghost. And again, not her fault. Kept reading off movies, and I'm like, that's not a ghost. Like Hereditary, I guess, has like one ghost in it that I can think of, but I wouldn't call that a ghost movie.
Right.
You know, it's just so tough. I'm like, man, the spectrum of measurements of ghost is quite broad.
If you were like asking me the first two ghost movies that came to mind, number one,
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts.
Yeah, she did read that one.
Number two, because this one's me personally, The Innkeepers.
Oh.
That one's, I really like that one. And it is a very simple ghost story.
You like The Innkeepers? Oh, that's good.
Right? I have the right movie. That's the
Yeah. They
hotel?
work at the hotel overnight and they do the...
They're like
They're
hunting ghosts.
hunters.
Yeah. Okay.
With the piano in the other room.
Yeah, I
and
love that
everything.
movie.
Yeah. You know what else that guy's made?
He did the no. Is that the House of the Devil?
He did do House of the Devil.
Okay.
And X and Pearl and Maxine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he started off good. He lost his way. It's okay. I've only seen
watched X. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I felt pretty middling on that. It grew on me, and I liked it more on rewatch.
Okay.
Especially because I really loved Pearl.
So maybe that's the thing. Maybe I got to do that.
Movie.
So maybe I can go back.
Yeah.
But,
Pearl is a lot more style.
Okay.
A lot more form over function in that movie.
But House of the Devil's really good.
House of the Devil, I will also say, is a form over function movie.
Yes.
But because it has one moment that I think of a function that was really good with Greta Gerwig in the cemetery that I loved.
Yeah.
But the freeze frame in the intro of her walking out of class with the 70s and stuff, I was like, it makes me feel warmer.
Yes.
Which is so funny because it's not from my time. It's from 20 years before my birth. That form, but it works.
But yeah. But The Innkeepers would be my
That's
top.
a good one. The one that
one.
was thrown out that Shay said, and Derek and Lauren were both like, "Ooh, no, not that one," was The Conjuring.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I think that one offers the secondary value of opening and beginning a Conjuring universe world if we ever wanted to touch it again or something. So I do like the idea of The Conjuring.
I also think
it's also a lot PG-13 scary is just a fun thing.
A lot of my other scary ghost ones though, I just think of found footage. I think of whatchamacallit, Grave Encounters, stuff like that.
Yep. I mentioned Grave Encounters because Shay goes, you know, we could watch. And Derek, don't say it. I was like, oh, you going to think Grave Encounters? Because I made him watch that and I fell asleep when we were in high school.
Yeah.
And he shook me awake. He's like, Jake, you got to wake up for this. And I remember him being scared enough to actually wake me up. That was funny.
Grave Encounters would be a good one.
The Conjuring, 13 Ghosts was one that was read out. And I was like, guys, I just don't think that movie's for you. Like, I really don't know if anyone's going to take to it.
I don't know if I even particularly call it scary.
Well, that's where
it's almost like an action horror movie in a way.
It was on the list, so everyone was like, "Oh, The Shining," and I was like, "That's definitely a ghost movie. There are ghosts in this hotel."
Yes,
but I was like, "I will not watch that movie with you guys. Like, I love you. If everyone really wanted to watch it, we'd have to pull it off the list because I don't think it's the scariest anything, even though I find it unsettling." But I'm not about to share my favorite movie with that. You know,
yeah,
like that's
a weird energy.
That's tough. That's tough. If someone said, "Let's watch a comedy," I'd be like, "Throw on The Big Lebowski." I'll laugh out loud for all of us. Like that's it's a different thing.
100%.
I don't want someone to come in and be like, "That movie sucked. It was boring."
Yeah,
I'm like, I know, but to
I
the
see
layman,
your
it makes
point,
sense.
But
so yeah, I'm thinking it'll be The Conjuring.
Okay.
I did throw out Sinister, but I was like, that's also not a ghost. That's the boogeyman. I was like,
kind of a demon.
I said, do we consider the boogeyman as a creature? Is that a ghost? Everyone, no. I was like, dang.
So what is he?
Probably more a demon.
Demon? I think he's a boogeyman, but I think he does have a name in that,
Bagul.
right? Bagul, yeah.
Yeah. I also watched Gladiator 2.
What'd you think of Gladiator 2?
It did not get my heart.
What? What's wrong with you?
I asterisk. The first movie, as much as I know it's good and I enjoy watching it, it's not dear to me at all.
Okay.
So I don't feel tied to that movie strongly.
Okay.
Even after rewatching it, I was like, that movie's like impressively made.
Yes.
And also, Joaquin Phoenix is so much better than I remember.
So good in that.
Comparatively, now I look back and I also say Russell Crowe had a fuckload of charisma in that movie. Like, I know he led everybody, and maybe it's because I've seen it before. I knew how it went.
Right.
But seeing it again with adult eyes, first time in at least a decade I've seen this movie, I was like, yeah, I would follow this man.
Right.
And also, this man was wronged. Like, obviously in multiple ways he was wrong. But he sees his enemy and he is ready to like he has anger and is ready to fight for it. And the whisper of Rome and the peace.
Right.
So
Marcus Aurelius had a dream that was Rome.
For this one, all the things I mentioned, I felt were significantly worse. Like, not slightly. Like, Bastion really likes that the emperor that is Joseph Quinn.
Yeah.
He really liked his performance. And I was like, I don't think his performance was bad at all. I think everyone in that movie acted well. I don't think there was a poor performance. I'm just like, but Joaquin felt so much more fleshed out. I got to see him in private moments and like intimate moments, and I got to watch like madness kind of catch more, even though he was bad at the beginning.
Right.
But this one, I was like, maybe it's just the twins of it all. I just didn't feel connected to either of them. I'm like, they're here, they're bad. Let's take them out.
Okay.
But also, Joaquin was the one who like instigated and started all of Maximus's problems.
Right.
Where these emperors from afar, faceless, were just doing Roman things, and it didn't feel as like, that's my villain. The villain that we attached to was Pedro Pascal, right? That he attached to. He was like, that man said, kill her.
Right.
Die. Spoilers. Light spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers for Gladiator 2, I guess, a little bit.
I'm not going to go through the whole story.
Right.
It did have the brighter ending, like you said, which I felt very eye-rolly at. I was like, right, the river and all this stuff. I was like, I don't know. It just didn't take for me him talking to anyone, him leading anything, the Denzel Washington. I wish I could do it, dude. I choose gladiators because of rage. I want to say like, I choose gladiators, the way he talks, because of their rage. And I'm like, it's funny because I think what I'm getting from Paul Mescal there was like, he just wants to die.
Yeah.
I don't get rage. Like, I don't see how he's like, I want the general's head, and I'll get you the general's head. I'm like, how? Like, it gets to a point similar there, but I'm like, I don't see how. And then he hates his mom, which I think is fair. Then he loves his mom, and he ends up fighting for Rome and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, Rome killed everyone you love. At the beginning, they literally speak out loud and compliment how much he's assimilated into their culture and how he's leading almost like a section of the wall. So he's not quite the Maximus, but he's leading something, And he gives a speech that's just like, we're not going to die.
It's so interesting.
And then I was like, sure, man. But then I'm just like, yeah, I guess he's going to go fight for but he's angry, but he's not. I'm like, I don't feel for him at all. And then he's just one day, his mom comes in, he's like, nah, I missed you. I love you.
It's so interesting because everything you're saying, I get how you say that if you look at Gladiator 2 as Gladiator 2. But for me, that's the kid from the first one that saw Rome fail Maximus, his hero. So he fucking goes, I'm done with Rome. But down the line, you have to come back to Rome because you have to save it. It is your job to save
Rome.
Yeah, like it's... He has to come back to save it. He doesn't want to. He just wants to die. He lost his love. He hates Rome because it's not the dream. It killed Maximus. His mom abandoned him. Everything. He hates Rome.
Oh, dude.
And all he does is hate everything.
His mom, which there's probably people, but I look at Rome and I go, nobody here has it easy.
Right.
Like maybe the emperors. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd say they're probably fine. But I don't think of anyone else as living comfortably.
There's all the political people, but they always are pulling political strings to live comfortably. Even the guy that like owes Denzel money, he's like, I'm living great, but I'm always at the very edge of being broke because I keep making bad decisions.
Yes, which is mostly his fault. But it's to say that I'm like, no one here is living comfy.
Right.
But her sending her son away and then living where she lives in that fucking like palace, I'm like, fuck you. I hate you too. But every man has ever a sword to my throat. Yes, everyone here wants to fucking kill everybody.
Yes.
But you're getting palm leaves blown in your face and drinking fucking wine while you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But she had to stay to keep the rebellion alive within Rome and had to send him out to bring the rebellion to Rome.
Yeah, and she trusts the gambler.
The gambler.
The gambler who almost fucks everything and does fuck everything.
Well, she probably was like, I've got to keep this, but she's starting to lose people and control. And
I just didn't take to the. There wasn't one thing that motivated me, but again, it was a very well-made movie.
Yep.
I didn't believe like every gladiator in there just loved. What do they call him for 45 minutes of the movie? Anno.
Oh,
That's another thing. This isn't as much on the movie because I don't blame movies for marketing, but I went into that movie knowing he was the son.
Right.
That movie pretends I don't know that for 45 minutes before they're like, it's the son. The guy behind me shook when he's like, oh my God, that's her son. Like, I forget what he says when he like grabs dirt or something. Because he's going to throw it in the rhino's face. And she's like tripping balls like, oh my God, is this possible?
I thought they already established before because Denzel knows who he is. They established that early on in the movie who he is.
Denzel doesn't
He does.
establish. No.
Well, he's like, yeah.
When?
Because he's like at the point because he's like
wrong.
See, before fighting in the like original Coliseum, not the Coliseum, but like the little fighting pit or
one
whatever,
with the monkeys.
He like talks to him. He's like, "Why do you want?" And he starts piecing it all together. Way back then,
it is not revealed. I mean, again, I'm in the trailers knowing that this is who's going to be what, but the movie does not tell you that. He might be piecing it together because in this movie, Denzel's a fucking genius. And he's amazing. Like, his character is whatever, but it was like also having this movie have a secret villain for most of the movie. I was like, I loved hating Joaquin from the beginning. A revenge story tells me who the villain is in the beginning, incites revenge and causes everything. This movie is like a revenge story, but the villain isn't clear, and then it's not the villain, and then there's the villain at the end fight. And I'm like, okay, so Denzel succeeds for, because Joaquin, how long did he succeed for? From the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie where he fails. This one is like Denzel succeeds at the end of the movie and fails at the end of the movie. I'm like, oh, was it worth it, dog?
For me, once again, I don't see Denzel as the enemy, as the villain. He is Marcus Aurelius's villain, and it's Denzel's revenge story on Marcus Aurelius for being his slave.
Yeah, which they do tell you an hour and 50 minutes into the movie.
The enemy is Rome itself. Denzel's the last linchpin holding the current Rome together, and if he snips Rome falls apart.
He makes himself the last linchpin to do that, yeah.
But I don't. Before Denzel's in that position, I don't think they're like, we have to take out Denzel, because at that point he doesn't matter. As soon as he takes control,
no one feels that way because he's also not done anything wrong,
right? But but I think it's because what he's doing is wrong, but in the scope of Rome, because the way Rome works right now, what he's done is not wrong.
No, I think there's a very clear stabby moment where he does something wrong.
Stabby moment.
Yeah, I mean, a very particular character dies, and then a monkey is named administrator to Rome or whatever.
See, but that's another.
That's like a very clear. Oh, like we knew you were. If you told me in the first Gladiator movie, I don't know what you'd call him. They're a gladiator ringleader.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me like he's actually bad, like 3/4 through the movie, I'd be like, sure. The guy's like essentially slave trading. Like, yeah, that of course he's not a good man, but they're like, but he is. They're like, I was once a gladiator too, and all the thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, we can make anyone a hero. Like it's Gladiator, I don't mind. But in this one, they're like, he's a bad guy. I'm like, well, yeah.
He might have also ended up having more if the actor didn't die before they finished the movie. He might have had more story. They had to probably truncate that pretty fast.
Yeah, but I just mean to say that it was like, oh well, this is what his job is, right? Everyone's got to survive. It's Rome. Life sucks.
Also,
but
slave trader is not a bad guy in this world at this time. It's just a job.
Yeah, but I'm also like, well, but look what you're doing. And they're thinking it's for honor and you can earn your freedom. And blah, blah, blah. I earn my freedom. You can earn your freedom.
The wooden sword.
The wooden sword. Yes, that was a really cool.
Yeah.
That was sweet. I was also like, I never felt like that man was a bad man.
That man, the guard?
The guard. He felt like a tough coach to me with the rowing.
Yeah.
I was also like, dude, you got to stop. Your shoulders are going to be blasted tomorrow. You won't be able to fight. Like, I saw that and I was like, I think they pushed a little hard. As someone who's ever worked out before, that fatigue lasts a day. I don't care how in shape you are, which he was looking good, but he wasn't like, you know what I mean? But anyway, he didn't end up rowing. So I was like, okay, you get a pass because there's no way you can row a boat after that. But right there, it felt like he was a tough coach.
Right.
And I was like, the only time he ever felt like he did anything wrong was when they fought, but he was told to do that. Like, I don't know. I never felt like he was really a bad guy. So I didn't, it was a cool thing, but I didn't feel, I don't know. I think Paul Mescal was like the third best in that movie. And he just didn't have the charisma and I didn't care and whatever. But I still think it was a really well-made movie. But at the end, the heart to me is would I rewatch it? And I'm like, I don't think I need to see that again.
Interesting.
I would happily never watch that movie again in my whole life.
Like I said, I feel like as a solo movie, it's not very strong. But if you tie it together with 1 and 2, and it's the whole story,
which I did.
I think
I watched it back. I think within a week of each other, back to back.
I think it's the conclusion that needed to happen to make the dream of Rome reality. And I think that's what the great payoff was.
Spoilers: Rome falls.
Well, we don't. But come on.
Yes, that's the thing that I'm like, we're already playing with history here, where it's just like, we're going to cross the river. And in my culture, crossing a river is not death. Crossing a river is understanding and camaraderie and whatever. I'm like, yeah. Also, the idea that the twins were born, like raised by wolves and stuff is hilarious.
The twins were born and raised
not born. They were abandoned and then raised by a wolf, where they were suckled from the teat, but it's the twins.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just funny. There's a lot of funny little things in here. And also Rome, just beautiful, man.
Oh, yeah.
Just the whole architecture, beautiful. But I didn't take to the movie. I'm glad when we finished the movie, everybody had to cut and run pretty quick. We didn't get to talk about it at all. But I was kind of happy because I was like, I know that this movie is well liked, and it just didn't take for me. It's not a bad movie. I wouldn't give it a fail. I wouldn't give it a rotten or I guess I don't know what a Rotten Tomato score critic does, but I wouldn't give it a
I don't know
49 or lower.
Gotcha.
It just wasn't for me. I can't give everything hearts.
That's
like
fair.
if you look, I got a lot of hearts.
It's one of those things that I'm just like, man, I'm sad that you didn't get it. It's like when I was talking about James and not getting Alan Wake. It's like, I get it, I appreciate it, but man, I'm sad you didn't get it. Well, I'm sad you didn't get that feeling.
To be fair, like Bastian was saying, he rewatched the first Gladiator to prep for this one, as I think a lot of people probably did.
Yep, director's cut.
He was like, when he watched it, he's like, I had forgot that it was like the first movie I cried to, and I got teary-eyed again. And I was like, watching it again, hearing it called a male weepy and everything like that, and I'm like, man, where do you cry? I just don't cry in this movie.
Oh, really?
I'm not even 70% there to be like, if I had this life experience, it would have pushed me over the edge. I'm just like, man, Gladiator is an objectively good movie, but and I like it. It got my heart. I would rewatch it again. I just don't know where I cry, and I don't feel tied to that movie in that way. It doesn't evoke anything strong in me. So
I've seen it a lot, so I don't cry anymore. But I remember just that the very, very end when he buries the toys, and he's like, "I'll see you again, but not yet." And I'm like, oh. That's the part that got me. I was like, that friendship they made throughout whatever, it's just like he's still making jokes, even though his friend is gone. He's still like holding on to the hope or whatever. It's so good.
Well, and that's a guy who I believe was his friend that was like, oh man, this guy's something special, in seeing that in Marcus. Or not Marcus, Maximus. But I don't see that in Lucius. I'll just call him Lucius because I don't remember. I think his name is Anno before. I don't see that in Anno. That charisma, that camaraderie, that the closest person he has is the medic, who is someone who does not fight with him.
Right.
Which is, I like the medic. He was a cool addition, but
because I don't think anyone took to Lucius because of his leadership. It was, they saw him fight the first time. It was like, oh, this guy can survive anything. I'm going to be on his team because then I get to survive.
Which makes me feel less for the camaraderie, because I'm like, oh, you're doing it for survival. Where Jamon Hunsu, he does it because he loves Maximus.
Right.
That's the only reason.
Right.
Live or die together, but not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Oh,
so that's great, but
there's a lot. We could talk Gladiator forever.
I know. I wasn't disappointed because I had lower expectations because I don't take the Gladiator one. So it may disappoint you, but it didn't disappoint me.
Okay.
I do want to talk about what I've been playing.
Okay.
We've been playing Marvel Rivals.
Yep.
You've been playing a game I've never heard of in my whole life that I saw back in. God, what'd you stream with Alec?
Oh, I streamed 2 different games that no one's probably ever heard of. One's called Dungeon Done, which was essentially the whole idea is somebody, D&D party went through a dungeon, beat the bad guy, all that stuff, left. Now you're like weaklings that go in afterwards and just scamper around and try to find what they left behind. So you run into simple bad guys that will destroy you. Or it's like a skeleton that you can knock out with one hit, but they always get back up, and all your stuff has durability, and you're just running around trying to find stuff and get out of the dungeon as quickly as possible.
It's really clever.
Really clever, really fun. It's cool to like walk into a big boss room and see the dragon with things
3D,
laying on it.
Third party?
First person 3D map.
Third person, I meant to say, not third
No,
party.
first person.
You're kind of third party.
Yeah.
First person.
First person, just run around. Very similar to like I'm trying to think of like almost kind of similar to what was that the roguelite dungeon game that people were playing. There was 2 of them. We tried it.
There's 2 of them?
There was 2 very similar games. You and James played.
Yeah, we played Dungeonborn.
Dungeonborn. It's like
I was
visually.
I was going to say Skyrim as a visually
kind of similar to that, but more claustrophobic, more horror based.
Okay.
And
this
then
other one is
the other one was called Black Pine.
Yes, because I was like, yo, he's playing a Blackpink game.
A black what?
Blackpink.
I don't know, Blackpink.
Well, I think they're a K-pop group, right? Or no, not the K-pop. They're the kids with the screaming girl. That's like the
Blackpink.
Yeah, Blackpink, the K-pop group.
Oh,
I saw that and I was like, yo, there's a Blackpink game and Brent's playing it. Like that's hilarious. But then I saw it.
It was Black Pine. It was essentially Alec was watching somebody on YouTube who's had another YouTuber friend who's the developer of that game. And so
cool.
This is just the demo. It's 1 level, 1 puzzle.
I saw it was a demo,
little buggy, but it's got some cool ideas. Essentially, you're like workers that have to go fix a water plant or take down trees or whatever. And
57 million followers.
Whoo!
Go ahead.
But you go out there to fix a pipe, but there's cryptids as well. So you're like fighting against cryptids, not fighting, but like running and hiding.
Sounds like what Alec wanted to make.
Yeah, in a way. So it was very fun. It's definitely buggy. There's like moments where it's like Alex hitting the button to talk on the walkie and we're away from each other. And I can hear him distantly. And I'm like, you're not hitting the button on the walkie. He's like, I swear I'm hitting the button. I'm like, okay, well, there's a bug going on here. Or I try to sprint.
Maybe because you're in earshot, the walkie doesn't work?
No, because he was like a basement and I was up top because he's like telling me what pressure the gauge has to be at. And I'm like, all right, go ahead. And I hear, you're not hitting the button. He's like, Alec, you got to hit the button. I'm hitting the button. I'm like, okay. I was like,
I trust you.
I trust you. Or there was one at the very end, we finished and the cryptid comes out to chase us like away. It's like, hurry, get back to the truck. You have like the sampler or whatever. And I ran out of stamina. I slowed down my stamina regen and I try to run again and it won't let me run again. It uses my stamina, but I never speed up. It's like, it doesn't reset.
It's like when you hit that belt buckle limit and you pull it back and it just doesn't let you go forward again.
The what?
The belt buckle limit.
The belt buckle limit.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Like if you were to stretch a belt buckle all the way out on a seatbelt.
Seat belt. I was thinking like belt buckle.
Oh.
And I was like, a belt buckle limit? Are you talking about getting beat? Like, I don't understand. I was like, what are we talking about?
Seat belt.
Seat belt.
I was thinking because I'm grabbing the buckle of
the
belt.
of the seat belt. Yeah, you pull it out and it goes, and then it doesn't
and then
retract.
You pull it back, and then it's stuck.
And it gets stuck.
You hit your limit once, and now you're.
Now I got it. Yes, I see what you're saying. I was like, oh God, what are you talking about? He's like, you know what I'm talking about? I'm like, no, I don't. What are you doing? God. It was like that. When the guy confused hard R.
Oh,
and he's like, we all used to say it. I'm like, everyone's like, no, we did it.
Hold up.
I think we're talking about something different.
Yeah.
I was like, anyway.
It was Linus Tech Tips. I said that.
Yeah. Anyway, what you were playing? You said you really want to talk about.
That was what you played?
Those were the 2 games, and then we also did another escape room game, which I was like jumping to. It was kind of cool.
Have you told anyone about Throne of Liberty?
I just talked about I've been playing it a lot, but it's kind of one of those games because it's like, I did stream it once, but I said like in the title, I was like, we're slow, methodical. Like we are learning this game. We're not min-maxing. We're not trying to get anything
did
done.
Stream it, huh?
We're playing the game and learning. And I say learning, it's like Em was doing the tutorial. Alec just got to like the main island. Like
and you're not learning the game. You're learning MMOs.
Yes.
For some of you.
some people are learning MMOs. I'm like learning like because like we played for I don't know however long, and then there was a moment where I clicked on a thing and I went, okay, yep. So I leveled this here, this there, cool, and then I clicked another button I hadn't clicked before, and it opened up another option of different like perks, and I went, oh, there's a whole other page of this I'm supposed to be doing, and then I didn't have any like points there yet. Like I hadn't gotten there yet, and I was like, oh, the game hasn't taught me this. That's why I don't know about it. I'm like, okay. There's another page I'll get to later, but it's like that little. It's like how deep does everything go? Because on the surface, you have strength, dex, perception. Like you have like your 5 skills, but then each weapon has abilities, and then those abilities have things. But then your mastery has another thing, and then it's like
of course
all that different stuff. But it's been really really fun. I'm really liking. I think my favorite thing is just I really like running around the world. And every time you get to a waypoint, you touch the waypoint and it pulls the camera out and it gives you like history about the little area. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I like that. And, if it's like, oh, I want to go through this forest full of spiders, I've got that. I want to go through the field with like chocobos.
I'm most hopeful because everything I love about New World, to talk about a different game, is I think brought down a bit by its low fantasy personally. Like I like you said, the big purple, like the purple VFX and the over the top and we're in this big overgrown, beautiful giant made of Magic City. Like that feeling is really cool. I'm really excited for when that developer finishes their Lord of the Rings game.
Oh, the New World developer?
New World developer.
Gotcha.
They're making an MMO that's Lord of the Rings.
Very cool.
And I'm like, I would love to see all of the function of this game in a Lord of the Rings. Like, I think that would fix everything I have with that game of just, it's all style for me that I don't take to as much.
I mean, I
put it in the world of Throne and Liberty, but make it New World.
Like
I'd prefer it. It's just, the magic doesn't feel magical.
I mean, Throne and Liberty, there was a moment where it's like, hey, do you want to get another? They have the little Amatoys, the little like stuffed dolls. You can get different skins for them. And it's like, oh, here's a side mission to go do that. You want to get onto Gigantus, I think is what it is. And I'm like, it's like a whale that appears in the sky. And I just get on the whale. And at one point it flies past a certain tower and you just jump off, you fly. Then you're on top of a whale. And you can get minerals off his back because it's like an island on top of this whale. But it's still over top the map I was just in. It's not like I hit a button and teleported to a fictional whale up in the sky. It's like 2 or 3 times a day it shows up and flies around the map for a little while. You can get on top of it, mine, do a mission or two, and then you can jump right off and get back to the main map. And I'm like, that's cool. Just cool.
That's cool.
And it's like, it's got an island on the back, but it's kind of weird because it's like you're walking on the island and you look and there's just like the 2 nostril holes, like the blowholes in the back, and it'll like breathe. But they're just like on the back of the thing. I'm like, oh, that's kind of creepy looking.
That is creepy.
But anyway, I've been really, really enjoying Throne and Liberty. I'll be playing tonight. Our plan was we tried to do a co-op dungeon for the first time yesterday, but we didn't want to matchmake because it's supposed to be 6 people. We only have 4. So we didn't want to matchmake. We just did the 4 of us just to see. But it was like a level 20 dungeon, but I was level 28. Everyone else was like 24, 6, 3, somewhere in there. And we got to the very last boss, and the last boss was like, oh, this is like, we need a healer. We need the guy that takes the damage. Like I was like, cool.
Tank of sorts, yeah.
So I reworked my thing to be the very tanky person. Em was going to do heals, and then Alec and Bethany can still stay DPS. But I found the taunt. I had to switch my weapon, so I have the great sword and the shoulder. So I had to rework some stuff so we can maybe have a better chance of it. But we might try again tonight. Plus, I'm now level 30. Next level, all my fast travel won't be free anymore. This would be a little sad.
What does it cost? Money? Like
the gold in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant by
and I think it's only 2 waypoints that aren't like major cities. So I can still go major city to major city, I think, for free. But if it's like, oh, here's a waypoint like right next to probably a lot of things you need to do, I might not be able to do that for free, which is fine.
Okay.
It gives you a lot of, and then also because I hit level 30 right before that, it gave me like coupons to like re-specialize things and like things that are like in the store you can pay actual money for to like redo stuff. Sure. Like re-speccing your stuff isn't. It's like re-specialization. So you like take the whole thing, but they give you a bunch of free ones. So it's like, hey, you played till 30.
Game, one of the things that turned me off was all those menus within menus, and I do like, but also because it's free to play, dislike how many things you can customize was staggering. And I was like, this is great for anyone who loves the customization. But I also see where I'm like, oh, I could pay for all of this. Like all of this is something I could be nickeled and dimed for. And what's that other game we played? Forgetting the name. Lost Ark.
Oh.
Lost Ark had something similar where I was like, man, this game feels and functions really well, but there's too many different types of resources and too many different customizations and skin options and mixing and matching that I was like, oh, this game could nickel and dime somebody.
It could.
And it did. It did for a lot of people, which I don't mind because it's just customization, right? It's just skin stuff. I think that's the way to do it. I also just know that I'm going to be frustrated by the amount of resources that there are. I'm going to be frustrated when I see something and I'm like, it's $10 for that fucking whirl, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I think I might look at getting the battle pass because I'm, higher up in one of them, and then there's a winter one right now that I'm actually getting really close to. So I might just go pop by so I get everything unlocked because I'm already, it's like a 20 level battle pass. I'm at 15. If I get to 20, I just hit by, and that means I get everything below.
Yeah.
All that different stuff. So I'm gonna look into that. But a lot of the cosmetics right now are limited into what you can buy because it's all Christmas themed. And then once Christmas ends, the store will probably reopen up to not be. But it's like, I don't want a gingerbread greatsword. Like, it's cool. And if I had 8 other greatswords I could switch between, I could probably turn this on for Christmas. I just have my one. I'm fine just having a real sword until I find like the fuck. And there's one that's like got a little pumpkin and it's all like wrapped and like big, heavy, chunky meat cleaver kind of looking thing. I'm like, okay, well, I might buy that. Like, that'd be cool. But I can't buy that one right now. So
rotating stores, man.
Exactly. So, but yeah.
Well, because of the Game Awards, I started playing Outer Worlds.
Yes.
Outer Worlds has been a blast. I don't really have any notes on it other than the game does feel smaller than I remember. All of the different planets are all fast travel things, and there's like you're locked in a circle essentially. It doesn't take long to cross the planet. But I like that smaller feeling. It's what I want. It's like getting a bigger RPG in a smaller bite-sized package, and it feels more like I truly can do what I want because if I spec too far down one direction, it's not a pain to just go the other direction now. Like it's. I'm already like max on like 3 of the 6 skills or measurables, the tech and science and guns and all that. So that's great. But I did download and play Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay.
That's what I wanted to get to because the first mission I thought it was far too long, but you just play through the beginning of the first movie.
The first movie, yeah. I've seen comparisons, and
it was like, oh, it's pretty 1-to-1. I did have a really weird moment. I watching this stream, watch Real Pixel.
Hey, Tron.
Dang, Tron, you just missed it. Well, there's a VOD later, don't worry.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit left.
But watching the stream, it cut to an ad for Indiana Jones. And I had a shot come up where he steps up into the temple with his arms out, and it popped up on the trailer at the same time. And I had like am I streaming right now? I had like what's going on? Because they were shot for shot 1-to-1 in the trailer. And I was like, that's weird. What are the odds of that?
As astronomical.
Yeah. And I was like, what's happening? Like
I
wasn't prepared for
hacked in the stream.
Yeah, right. He's in. But yeah, I started playing after that into you go to the Vatican and stuff, but I think because the genre I've never heard actually, but I'm hearing more because of this game is immersive sim. You ever heard this?
Like I've heard the term, but I couldn't tell you what it is or what other games like it.
I had never heard it before, but I could name games that feel like it. Like Dishonored is one where it's like, oh, you're going to go to a map and the goal is to just get into that door.
Right.
You got a maze of ways to get there, and you can go up or loud or silent or vertical or steal the key to unlock the thing to whatever. The other ones I've heard, Hitman. Hitman is like, well, here's the map. Kill those 2 guys.
Good luck.
Do whatever you want to do. The difference is I don't feel like immersed in this world in the same way. I don't feel like I was able to, I don't want to say kill because there's often just knocking out, right?
Right.
But I would like properly sneak up behind somebody, and unless there's a keybind naturally doesn't exist or something, but I went through the tutorials, I did everything as I was supposed to. Nothing is you can't silently take down anybody. And I'm like, man, I snuck all the way around here to just beat the shit out of this guy with a club that breaks after you knock somebody out with it. It's like the thing's gone, and I have to find another thing, but there's no inventory. I can't hold anything. So I'm like, if I want to get a guy with that club or baseball bat, I have to hold this baseball bat, break it. Then I have to just find something else around and fight somebody else to knock him down because otherwise I'm just punching him in the head over and over again.
No whip?
The whip is like a disabler or a stun.
Gotcha.
Take the gun out of their hand, trip them. A couple traversal things, put it up on the rail and climb the rail. But for being Machine Games, who did Wolfenstein, there are guns. Of course, you shoot one gun, everyone on the map runs to you.
Yeah.
But I have one gun, and if I see another gun and I grab it, it just drops the other gun because there's no inventory.
Oh.
So I'm like, well, what good's a gun? I can knock a guy out that has a gun, take the gun, and shoot 4 people. But now I've got 8 other people coming to me. I have no weapons, and I can grab it. Seriously, the game to me felt like Dead Rising, where I'm like, everything around me is a weapon. Like a fly swatter, a weapon, a book, a weapon, a chair, a rod, a pole, a baton, and then of course everyone you knock out has something on them to take or a weapon or whatever. And it just didn't hit for me. I was like, I don't know what's I didn't get past far enough in the story to like actually get to, it's called the Golden Circle. I didn't get to whatever the Golden Circle is.
Great Circle?
Great Circle?
Golden Circle? One of the circles. You didn't get to the circle.
Whatever the circle is, I didn't get there. The performance is really good. The performance by Troy Baker, I should say, is really good. Everyone else is very interesting because it's like, wow, this is like, you just video gamified a movie from many years ago. There's something really weird about this. But the world was beautiful. Like, it felt really cool to be there. But I was also just like, as soon as they're like, hey, follow this person, do this thing, I was like, I don't want to. Uninstall.
Okay.
I was just like, it's not for me. I don't think the game's objectively bad or anything. It's just like, oh, wow, this was really an experience I just did not want to have.
Okay.
I didn't take to the story that they weren't feeding me for the first 4 hours of playing. And the play just... I was streaming it to Derek, funny enough, after the ad. I was like, I should stream this because he hopped in the Discord. I was like, I should stream this. And he was confused by a couple of things. I'm like, man, this gun, like, there's nothing. I went through my keybinds. There's nothing to put it away. Like, it's either on me or I throw it on the ground, and I couldn't find. So if you find an inventory, that'll make the thing a lot better. If you can find, I have a fly swatter, and I came up and snuck up behind you, I can knock you out with it somehow. That's great. That'll make the game a lot better. But I didn't have those, couldn't find them, and I was like, it's not worth it. I've got too many other games to play. And because it's on Game Pass, I was able to have the luxury of being like, I can just drop it.
Yeah.
Done. I'm good.
Then it sounds like I'll be going from Spider-Man to Death Stranding and maybe come back to Indiana Jones later.
It has the director's cut, won a bunch of awards. You know it's going to be good. Sequel's coming. I think that'd be potential. I think it'd be a better game. I also think both of them, to be fair, because there's so much seemingly exploration in both. They might, I don't know how it would feel to whoever you're streaming with and to, but it wouldn't be something I would, because it's so slow. It's so like methodical. Let me read everything. Let me take through everything. Let me absorb. It's very atmospheric. So I don't know how the play plays, you know.
Interesting.
But I don't know anything about Death Stranding. I've only seen light gameplay.
I just feel like for me, Death Stranding will have like, because right now when I play Spider-Man, I have a lot of people come in and be like, oh, I love this game. And I'm like, oh, cool. I apologize. I'm really bad at it. Like, I feel so weak as Spider-Man fighting in this game that I'm like, I get frustrated. I'm like, why am I so weak? How is this thug taking 8 shots from Spider-Man and I can't beat him? So I'm like, I'm sorry you have to watch me play because I'm so bad at this game. But funny. There's a lot of people that really love it.
Is your difficulty cranked up?
You have it on the second highest. Like, so it's like there's spectacular, I'm on amazing, which is what I think it started at. But it's like, you know, and then someone came in and was like, oh, I just always knocked them up in the air. And then once they were up in the air, I just beat them up in the air. And then I would pull the next guy in the air. And I went, oh, I don't have the pull up in the air. So I made sure my skill tree got there and I started doing it. I was like, oh, that is easier. But now it's like, I did that a lot
too. I also very comfortably would take someone, throw them off the edge. Take someone, throw them off the edge. I'm very much an off the edge gamer.
I recently had a moment where it was like you pull up and there's cars and like 8 people jump out and you're on the street. And I'm like, I just can't beat these guys.
When you're doing the like calls, the jobs.
This was like part of the storyline, but
small thing. I really like it when they do the side of a building and you go into it and you can't move your camera.
Oh,
it's like not hard to like make it frustrating, but it's also just weird enough where I'm like, this is kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
It's such a small, stupid thing, but I'm like, I really like running around without being able to see and beating people up. It's fun.
Yeah. But anyway, people really like that story, and I feel like Death Stranding is going to have the people that are like, I love and I want to see someone experience.
I really like that story.
So
that Spider-Man story really got me.
So
I think Miles Morales is a good one, but then Spider-Man 2 is also just like, wow, this is like it's closer to the second one's closer to an Uncharted, where I'm like, this has set pieces.
Gotcha.
First one did too, catching the helicopter in the web and that whole chase scene, and you're getting thread through and you're doing the spiral through the crane and stuff. It's like, oh, this is really visual, and it's closer to a quick time kind of thing. Quick time event, that's what I was looking for. But Spider-Man 2 had a lot more just like holy fuck kind of moments.
The so far my only complaint with it is I think Aunt May looks like the most stereotypical Karen, and every time she's on screen I'm like, God, I just don't like you.
Just the look?
Just the look.
Just by look.
Just by look.
Okay. Well, you said don't like you. I was like, oh, you
her
really
character
don't
model. Yeah. I go, oh, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, she's got I mean but isn't she though? I was gonna say she has go to church every Sunday. Like
right.
The shade, like the white.
Oh, red hair.
Is it red hair?
Yeah. It's like straight up red hair. It just to me every time I see her, I'm like,
from Marvel Champions just now.
Oh, it's just every time I look at her, I go, God, why is every other character model so like Doc Ock's character model and his performance, everything? I'm like, this is a great Otto. This is so good.
It's really good.
People are watching me play and they go, oh, I forgot Tom Holland Spider-Man because Spider-Man now looks different. He doesn't look like he did originally. They changed him.
Because you were playing remastered.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, this is just the Spider. I like his look. It's Spider-Man to me. Totally
looks good both ways.
Mary Jane, I'm like, she's like a little too average looking because I feel like Mary Jane needs to be like the pinnacle of beauty. That's like the whole idea of Mary Jane, where Gwen Stacy was like the stereotype, like the average looking one, then lost her and got Mary Jane, who's like the picturesque. Sure. But I'm like, but I still like her because she's more of a Lois Lane than what I know of Mary Jane.
When you played as her already,
yes.
Right? So she does have actionable functions to her.
So I'm like, I see why they went this way with her. She still's pretty. She's still like, that's the girl that I want to be with, obviously. That's why I'm trying to get her back. But I just went a different route. So everyone else I like, but Aunt May, every time I go, God damn, why do you look like that?
I didn't feel that at all.
Oh, it bugs me. Because everyone else is great. That's the thing. J. Jonah Jameson jumping on the like podcast, hearing him on the mic. That's great.
The podcast is funny.
A lot of stuff is so good in it. The jokes when he's running around, he's like, oh, I'm Spider Cop. I'm like, this is great. All fun stuff. Mr. Negative, everything's great. And then Aunt dude. It is funny though, because I was talking about Mr. Negative. I was just like, so Mr. Negative's saying like they need to take care of Norman Osborn because he's actually a bad guy. Like, we shouldn't just let this guy, like, I understand the heroes don't kill people, well, I'm going to kill people because we kill that one person that saves however many people. I'm like, oh, I'm totally behind you. And he's like, yes. And to do this, I'm going to take out hundreds of people and blame Norman. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What happened to just taking care of Norman and that saving people? Why is your plan to take out people to hurt Norman? I'm like, you're just being Norman again. Can you not see this? I don't understand. Like, you had a good plan.
That's how they do. That's how villains do.
But yeah, I like that. And then I just got to the part where everyone got broken out of prison and I'm fighting Electro and Vulture right now in the like electrical plant.
Don't worry about that.
That was weird. It was like a bouncy ball almost like. Anyway, the other thing was Electro's character model I thought was so good. Because he's got like the suit, which I'm like, yep, easy. But they gave him scars on his face in the shape of a star, like the mask. And I went, oh, that's really fucking smart. That's so cool. I love his model.
That's great.
I'm like, we need that in the movies. We need it out more. It's such a good character design. So good.
It's a good game.
But I guess before we got to get into Game Awards, but real quick, I watched Kraven the Hunter. Speaking of Spider-Man, I thought Kraven the Hunter was good. We have a new rating: rad, dad, or bad. Kraven Hunter, dad movie. I think it like rides the line where it could have been rad if the story was stronger, but the story is kind of bleh. But the fight scenes, I thought Kraven was really good. The gore, the moments that he has are really cool, like fucking ripping someone's nose off with his mouth and spitting it at another person. Like, those moments are really cool, and he's very like brutal. But the problem is it's set within a bad story, like a really bad story. So it's like,
that sounds typical.
As a movie, it stinks. Kraven's really good. I even liked Rhino, even though the actor made some interesting choices. And they set up the chameleon. Like, I thought the characters were good. The movie isn't very good. So that's kind of the problem with that. Top 3 Spider-Verse live action movie. What are the top 3?
Spider-Verse not being with any of the Spider-Man movies. Like, is he asking, is this one of them? So is that is that Morbius, Madam Web, Venom?
Gotcha.
This one? Like, is that what it...
I think, for me, I've not seen Venom 2 or Venom 3, but Craven and Morbius are my top 2. Just because I like if you took the story away from those and you took those actors playing those characters and put them in a Spider-Man movie, perfect.
Sure.
The problem is they exist in these other movies that stories are weird.
Hard for you to pick a top 3 when you've seen 4.
Yeah. Madam Web is
the third because you don't like Venom that
I
much?
really don't like Venom, but I know Venom is better than Madam Web. I enjoyed watching Madam Web
was
more
so much
because
fun
it
to
was
watch.
so bad. I'm about to break up with you.
There's no good answer. There's just no good answer.
And then the movie that surprised me, I watched Carry On with Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
It's
The worst
For
review
me-
I've seen is 3.5 out of 5.
for me, it's rad. Like it rode that line. I was like, this is gonna be a dad movie. But I felt like the people that needed to be good at shooting were good at shooting. Like they don't like kill every shot, but they hit their target. You know what I mean? Or they would have hit their target if someone didn't literally like block it. But then there's someone that uses a gun that shouldn't be good at shooting, and he's like pew, pew, missing. And it's like, well, I get why he's missing because he's probably never held a gun before. There's people die that I didn't expect. Like there's actually like a threat here, and I was like, oh, this isn't just like they might kill one guy in the beginning and then the bad guy gets in the end. Everyone else is good because it's a happy-go-lucky movie. So I thought it was really good. I thought Taron was really cool to watch him go from the guy that doesn't achieve anything, the normal guy. He wants to be great, but he's not great. Going through the struggle to become John McClane at the end. You're like, it's not like, oh, something happens and he's John McClane. He struggles a lot with it and makes like bad choices or does the wrong thing to then by the end be like, I'm fucking John McClane. I'm taking you down. It's really cool. I really liked it. Definitely worth it. It's on Netflix. Check it out. Now we get into the Game Awards. I was like, wait, did I want something? Nope. Game Awards. They don't Stormtrooper. Exactly, Tron.
Hour 43
there are characters,
in. All right, let's dive in.
There are characters that do, but it makes sense that they do. So hit me
15 minutes from the end. Let's
well,
get
you know,
into
Game
it.
Awards. Let's get into it. Well, there's a lot of
We
talk.
really gotta. We for the first 10 episodes, we were very good at being like, here's what we watched for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Why did that go an hour 45?
Well, because we actually played stuff. Usually we go, what are you been playing? Oh, I've been playing Overwatch. Okay, cool. Oh, what have you been playing? I did this. I did this on stream. Cool. And we move on.
Yeah, I guess.
Indiana Jones had a lot to it. Throne of Liberty. There's just more.
Yeah.
Our podcast is evolving, changing.
Yeah. I don't know what to do for the 15 minutes of the Game Awards. I don't know.
Everybody out there that do gaming podcasts have gone deep dives, talks about the Game Awards, who won, who's this, what did we see, all that stuff. Let's just talk about the things that really excite us.
Which were just announcements for me.
There
was not an award that was one that I was excited for because I don't feel that for award shows anymore.
Me either. I was actually happy the Astrobot won though, because I've heard great things, and it seems like a game that would get overlooked. I was glad to see it got nominated. I was like, cool. That's probably all we'll get because it definitely seems like one of those games that like, well, let's give it a nomination, then we can look at something that we.
Yeah.
So to hear that it won, I was actually surprised and pretty happy about it. That's not going to change my viewing on any of the other games that didn't win, or it doesn't make me want to play Astrobot more. I've already wanted to play it.
Yeah.
But I was glad to see that it won. So announcements though. Give me that Feudal Japan.
Dave the Diver has an expansion.
Dave the Diver?
Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver.
I'm just gonna go through them because I don't know what caught you, what caught me, what we might
Okay,
forget.
I'll stop you when I get something.
Pal World has a new expansion.
That one
This month.
didn't catch me, but I was like, oh, they're still doing stuff to that, even though they took out the balls.
Sifu.
Seafood.
The creators of Sifu have a soccer game coming out.
What is it called?
Rematch.
That looks awesome.
I will never call it Rematch because, again, the game developer of this game has only ever made Sifu.
Uh-huh.
I'm hearing people call this FIFU.
That's
like
great.
FIFA, and I can only think of it as FIFU now.
I saw a TikTok go like, guys, did you see this? They're releasing Rocket League, but with people.
I saw that too. It's like Rocket League without the cars.
Yeah.
I've seen something similar.
That's really funny. But I also watched that game and I go, oh, that looks like a legit fun soccer game to play. I tried playing FIFA and I went, this just isn't fun. Like it's hard.
I have a lot of fun playing. I haven't played in a long time. I did play here.
Maybe it's because it was like I've never played and I just picked up the newest FIFA and I went, why is this so complicated to do simple things? This game looks like a get in.
It's got like crosshairs. It's got like aiming.
It comes back to my like
NFL off the back wall.
NFL blitz, NHL hits. Like this is a sports game, but we're also just having fun.
Looks
so
like
get
it's
in,
made
have
up
fun.
teams. Looks like it's made up. We're gonna get this game. I would like to play it.
Yes,
for sure.
100%.
New Pac-Man Metroidvania based off the Secret Level TV show.
That's cool.
Slay the Spire 2 has gameplay.
That's exciting. I hear a lot of stuff about that.
I played the first one. It's not for me. Where should I watch it?
We're reading it.
Yeah, they did spew out a lot of, and the game award for this goes to this, and now the game award for fighting. Your nominees, boom, this person won. Now for streamer, and they just like hit 3, and then they go, and now a world premiere, 5 minutes on a trailer. It's tough though because there isn't an E3 anymore, right? So it's like, where do you announce when it's not Summer Game Awards? Like this is the closest. It's like there's got to be 2 periods where they announce them. But who cares about best mobile game of the year getting an award? But they want it to be on camera, but they don't. And I don't want the guys who won for best mobile game of the year. I don't care if they give a speech. And I care about games, right? So who do I want to see? I like seeing them do the music. I like seeing the people who do come up. I don't know.
I think the music's really cool, and I think the trailers are cool and celebrating all that stuff. I feel like every speech is just awkward to watch. It's like I almost wish that we could do an award show without speeches. But it's like you got to give them the moment they won. They got to do their thanks, whatever. But it's like every time I hear an award announcement, I'm like, oh, they won, cool. As soon as the speech starts, I either am on my phone or I'm looking somewhere else or doing something else. Because like I don't really want to hear you thank people. No offense to them. It's just that it just always feels awkward to be in that moment.
Melina won for best performance in Senua in Hellblade 2.
Awesome.
That was cool.
Which I have not got to play yet.
Anyway, next game. Slay the Spire 2 got some gameplay. I played the first one. It's just not my type of game.
Fair.
And the art style, there's something about the art style that's very weird to me. It's very on rigs. Like you can see all the joints on everybody, you know? But anyway, next game. Thick as Thieves, which is the game that's kind of like there's one thing to steal in the map, and it's a multiplayer where you're different types of thieves that are trying to steal the thing successfully.
Competitive? Trying to beat them?
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
I don't know how PvPvE it is. You know what I mean? Like, is there an environment you have to fight, or what's that like? But it's a very interesting game. It's from one of the creators of the Deus Ex games, which those games are immersive sims, come to find out, where it's you got to do that one thing. How are you going to do it? You got to steal that egg, the dragon egg or whatever it is. How are all of us going to steal it? And how are we going to then steal it from each other after the one person gets it?
I think that sounds really interesting, and I'm sure there's going to be people that are wicked good on for like online PvP.
Yeah.
That's a game that I'm like, I need 3 friends to play so we can just have fun, and it's a party game. Like I don't want anyone to min-max this game. But I know people will, and I'm almost will be interested to watch them do it, but I don't want to be part of that.
Ninja Gaiden has a side scroller coming out in summer 25. Turok.
Yeah.
3-player co-op dinosaur hunting action game.
Let's go.
It's ditching first person.
That's fine.
I
think I prefer first person for shooters, but there's so many third person shooters now that
when you're shooting dinosaurs, though, I don't mind.
Yeah.
You know? Like everything with we talk about Marvel Rivals enough, but Marvel Rivals third person shooting has frustrated me a few times.
Yeah.
I've also seen certain clips that are using exploits where they're like, I can actually aim around this corner as Black Widow because her gun peeks out. But as soon as you pull back, the shot hits the wall. But if you aim, it hits the person. You know, like those kinds of things. And always peek from the left because you can see better. To peek from the right side, you have to have your whole body out. And I'm just like, God, that's such a weird thing to have to think about in a game. I shouldn't have to think about that. But anyway.
Tron, we're getting one then. You're getting it. Be excited.
It's coming. Sonic Racing.
That's cool.
It exists.
I like Sonic. I'm not a huge Sonic person. I have my games that I like. Sonic Racing isn't one of them, and I don't really play racers, but it's cool. Yeah.
There's a game called Project Century so far coming out. That one that's like the beat 'em up
really
in
cool.
Japan. I don't know what that game is.
No idea.
Looks cool,
but
I don't
feel
think
like
I'll play it. I thought it was going to be another Sleeping Dogs because I was like, oh, it's Sleeping Dogs, just not in wherever the first one is. I don't even know, but
like
it's not modern.
Yeah,
it's not modern. It feels in the streets of a different time period.
But that one looked really interesting.
And alongside that, there's a Virtua Fighter.
Yep,
same developers. Borderlands 4 has quote unquote gameplay reveal. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of gameplay in that reveal.
Very, very little gameplay.
But It did have gameplay footage.
Yeah. I like Tron. Wouldn't it be faster for Sonic just to run instead of getting in a car? That's fair.
Unless they make Sonic powered
But what
cars,
about Tails? How does Tails keep up? You got to give him wheels.
Tails.
People know Tails. I didn't pull a random character.
I know.
Okay.
Listen. Tails and Knuckles, dude. I hear those words. I'm like, one of them flies, right? Tails. He's got to be the orange one.
Yes. Tails is the orange one. Okay.
Knuckles is Idris Elba.
Correct.
Borderlands 4. It says here, what are you going to do? Not play it? They're right.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
God, I hope one day there's an article. It just says that, like,
What are you
Call
gonna
of Duty, whatever. It's like, what are you gonna do? Not play it? That's the title of the article. Here's what it is. You're gonna play it.
Yeah,
Move on.
It's on Game Pass now. Just fucking download
exactly.
it. Pre-install it now.
So funny.
So yeah, Randy Pitchford coming out on stage was a wild choice because he's had so many weird. He's like a controversial person now. You know, I'm just like, ooh, Randy Pitchford. Okay, here we go.
You know,
a character from Final Fantasy who gives a fucks coming to Tekken 8.
I
16.
cared then didn't care.
Final Fantasy 16.
That's Final Fantasy. Oh, cool. Tekken. Oh, okay.
Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth coming to PC.
You know what? I've heard Kind of Funny mention that game before.
Last of Us Part 2 coming to PC.
That's cool. The trailer didn't look that great though.
Because it was like during one of their like ad breaks. The only time I had a potty break.
Oh, okay.
I came back and I was like, "Oh, Last of Us 2. What are you showing?" And it said remastered, and I was like, "This game's been remastered, coming to PC." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it.
I thought it was the remaster. I didn't play the remaster, but I thought the footage they showed for it, I was like, "Why does this look so bad?"
Oh,
I don't know. It's probably just the footage. I'm sure it'll run great, look great.
yeah,
People's PCs can do it.
ultra wide.
But I was watching the trailer real quick, and I was like, "Oh, that looks gross." I thought it was the first one.
Tron's excited.
Woo! Go ahead.
Outer Worlds 2 gets a trailer. This was one of the games I actually wrote down because I was like, wow, this game does seem bigger, brighter, more fun. I liked the first one enough. Let me go back. That's why I've been playing the first one is after seeing the second trailer. It just says it's coming next year, so who knows if it gets delayed, just like everything else in the world ever gets delayed. You can't trust any of these dates.
Can't.
Except for maybe PC releases in January.
Yeah.
Those, I can trust those.
Probably pretty solid.
I don't care about them anyway, but Outer Worlds 2 looks like a blast.
Awesome.
So I'll be balling on that one. Onimusha's coming back. That was a really cool trailer for a game that I don't think I'm going to play.
Probably
because it doesn't look like it's going to run like an older Onimusha. It looks like a Soulsborne.
Yep.
With the types of character movements and stuff.
In Feudal Japan.
Split Fiction.
Oh, let's go.
From Joseph Fares.
This is my number. I have to double think. I'm pretty sure it's my number one.
We'll keep going. But
my number one.
Hazelight Studios.
So excited.
Yeah, they did It Takes Two. They did
A Way Out.
A Way Out.
Such good.
Both great games.
So,
this third one looks like it's just more fun.
Someone that
looks
just
like a blast.
They just care about co-op, specifically couch co-op, but just
yeah.
co-op.
The
and that's
co-op
awesome.
of it is what makes it feel
so
good.
exciting.
Oh, this game, Dispatch, it looked fun, which is a narrative game. It looks like a Telltale game.
Okay.
But he's like the low-level superhero who dispatches superheroes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Did you see that
I didn't
one?
see that
No.
one at all.
So it's
cool
going to play
idea.
like a Telltale, so it's not as going to be as fun, but very interesting for the cast. Aaron Paul, Laura Bailey, Jeffrey Wright. I never say this name. Jack Septic guy. He's the streamer. Moist Critical,
Oh.
who's the Penguin Zero
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
with the long hair. Alana Pierce, Travis Willingham, Matt Mercer.
Dang.
I was like, wow, this is quite the cast.
Yeah.
And also streamers.
Interesting.
That's interesting. But that looks fun. Mafia: The Old Country. That looks fun.
Very fun.
Says linear narrative-driven sequel.
That's cool.
Looks
I
like
didn't
it'll
play
play
the
fun.
other Mafias, but they always looked good. I just never grabbed them.
They were the newest Mafia was reviewed so poorly because its open world seemed too dead. People said, and I was like, I don't want to play in an open world that doesn't feel alive. Much like when the new Saints Row came out, people had the same complaint. I got it anyway because we had credited GT, and I was like, wow, this does feel really dead. There's nobody at the gas station. There's no cars. There's nothing. It's just a lot of desert. I don't know.
Okay.
So hopefully this changes.
Yeah.
It looks like it will. A lot of people are excited. Astrobot won Game of the Year, of
Congrats.
course. New game from the guy who did Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian and Eero?
I don't
Eco?
know.
Whatever. I didn't play it. But Shadow of the Colossus, whatever. It seems to have that same kind of visual style, almost like a cinematic look, a far right of camera, far left of camera, kind of over the shoulder, a world that's much bigger than we'll ever know, but we're going to play in it anyway.
Both of Last Guardian and Shadow Colossus, I think, are both games that if I had found or grabbed Shadow Colossus in particular when it first dropped, and I grabbed
Last
it and
Guardian
hold it,
dropped at 2016,
but even
So,
then, I
yeah.
still didn't grab it, I didn't even know much about Shadow Colossus at the time. But like, if I had, I think I would be more into them. But I feel like I've already missed the boat. Much like I'm talking about starting Death Stranding, because I feel like I would be a Kojima fan if I had grabbed Metal Gear when it happened, when I was playing the demo over and over and over again, and it just never dawned on me maybe I should go buy the game. I beat the demo of 18 times.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe Death Stranding might be my hold of Kojima, because at this point, I'm not going to go back to do Metal Gear. I can't.
I won't.
Right?
Yeah.
It's probably still great. You probably still have the experience. It's not going to be the same, and I'm not going to do that.
And you'll never be able to look forward to another one coming out.
Exactly.
And if you do, it's not from Kojima.
If Kojima's left it, I need to leave it. I can go with him on his journey now to see if I would have been a Kojima fan. So that's why I'm doing Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. If I had started with Shadow of the Colossus, I might be more hyped, but I don't
They did
think
do
I'm going there.
I played it only when there was a remaster. Mm-hmm. I was very familiar with the game. I knew it. I just never played it. And when the remaster came out, it was one of my buddy Ronnie, his favorite game of all time. So I was like, I'll buy it. I'll play it. So I borrowed his copy because I didn't need to buy it.
Right.
And I played it, beat it all the way through, and it just didn't take for me. I was like, wow, this was a visual treat, but the gameplay was so minimal. And he's like, well, if you would have played it on PS2, and I was like,
Yeah.
super fair. I bet this game was stunning on PS2.
I watched Hang Time play all the way through Last Guardian.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the game was cool, the story, yada yada. Them playing it was fun. It was fun to be part of the story. But all I saw was them getting frustrated trying to control the creature, because it's a game where you give orders to the creature.
Yeah.
And it just
No, I heard the same thing. And Ronnie's excuse for that, because of course he, apologist. Ronnie's excuse was, well, it's a living creature with its own like you can't just tell it what to do.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, fuck that. It's a video game. Same people that told me something similar. I think it was The Witcher and the horse and Roach.
Oh.
They were like, oh, well, it operates more like a horse. And I was like, who the fuck wants that?
Exactly.
That sounds terrible. I played The Witcher. I actually don't agree. And maybe that's because they updated past it or something. But yeah.
It's one of those things where way back in the day with Hey You Pikachu, when it was like, well, you got to have Pikachu like you got to treat it nicely so it learns to listen to you better. And I just remember shouting in that mic, Pikachu, get over here. Just listen to me. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Come here, little buddy.
Yeah.
Come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
girl.
No,
Pikachu.
after about 15 minutes, like, Pikachu, get off your
Pikachu,
ass. Get over
motherfucker.
here, dude. Even giving it to my mom and her
chose
yelling
you.
into it. Like, fucking Christ.
Mom,
Listen
can
to
you
me.
yell Pikachu for me? My voice is getting tired.
Go ahead.
Next game, Elden Ring. Standalone co-op spinoff.
Excited?
It says it'll be in a condensed map of Elden Ring's Limgrave area.
Very cool.
So condensed map means we're probably going to get it faster.
It's going to be $30.
Yeah.
Probably not, but I'm hoping.
No, it'll be cheaper. It'll probably be cheaper if it's condensed. But even if it's not, what are you going to do? You did not play Erdtree, and you barely did Elden Ring. I'd say.
I ran around, dude.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's great. I
It's a lot of
dropped
running.
Indiana Jones in 4 hours. I said, fuck this.
It's a lot of
Protect your
running.
peace, dude. Protect your peace.
Go ahead.
My second favorite coming up.
Here we
The
go.
Witcher 4 revealed.
Oh,
That trailer was so good.
so good.
And Unreal Engine 5, super exciting. And all of that being rendered on graphics cards that are not yet released. I'm like, these guys are... Because The Witcher 3 pushed for its... like when they were announcing the Xbox One, it was supposed to be a launch title or very close to. Got delayed like over a year for all the visuals. Cyberpunk, it had a couple issues, but again, the visuals were like such a tie, and they tied so much with ray tracing, and they were the first I ever saw to use the AI enhanced ray tracing stuff, and it's amazing what that game looks like and how it can run. So, new engine, new hardware coming for Witcher 4. Really exciting. I'm really excited to just keep living in that world.
I touched a little bit of Witcher 3, and I saw this trailer, and I was like, I'm not going to go back and play The Witchers. I'm not going to go back in 3, even though it's on a huge discount right now if you want to go back. I think everything's like super cheap.
It was remastered recently, too. I'd say last year. Like, it was
Right.
not long that it was remastered for new consoles.
I'm not going back, but I may pick up this one.
Well, so it's funny
it
because
looks cool.
obviously it's
I
named,
like the world.
It's named 4.
Yeah.
And as we see in the trailer, Ciri's back. What's really interesting, though, is they've already come out and said that this is starting a new saga, that there will be a trilogy of games that this starts. So this, in a way, is a beginning.
Which is why I'm like, cool,
And
I might be
from
in
what
now.
I understand, it's also the first to divert from the stories, that they're like, we're writing our own. Which,
Very cool.
which, based on the writing for Cyberpunk, I trust these guys.
Nice.
Because Cyberpunk, I stand by that game being like spectacular, like an amazing game at this point.
Very cool.
Maybe not at launch.
Well, yeah.
But it is now. So I'm very excited. I actually did, while it was going, I installed The Witcher 3. Shay was already done streaming at the time. I remote installed it onto my PC. I was like, I'm going to play it. Because I never finished. You were there when, remember when I downloaded it on Bethany's Xbox?
Yeah.
And I played while I was at your house too, just to catch up, like, and just keep playing. I must have got 20 hours in and I just fell off.
Yeah, you only have
like,
about 280 hours left.
Easy. I got it.
Okay.
Good news is, this game will not be coming next year. There's just no way.
Right.
So as much as it's on my PC, I'm doing what's the other one I just said? Outer Worlds. Doing that one first. By then, Assassin's Creed and Monster Hunter is going to come out. I did put Borderlands 3 on a list that I was like, I want to play it again just because it's been so long since I beat it, and other people that I play games with want to try it. So I bought the complete edition for like $4. Did you end up beating it?
No, I didn't beat it. We played it that one night, but never fit. I only played with you.
Yeah.
And Bethany. I think Bethany would like to play.
Dude,
it
if you want to stream it, dude. If you
maybe
want to play.
we'll play.
I'd play it and beat it.
Maybe we'll set it up.
Okay, they announced Okami 2.
Very cool for the people that like that.
Sure. I don't know you.
I don't know
you're
you
out
either,
there.
but that's exciting.
And then my number one, of course, the Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet
That is very exciting.
from Naughty Dog. I could tell just by her face, the Naughty Dog of it. I was like, okay, I do think this is a Naughty Dog game. What seems really unique and special is the like branding.
Yes.
She's in a Porsche ship, the Adidas shoes, the Sony, which of course Sony's everywhere. And you know, like somebody's playing their PSP in The Last of Us 2 when you kill them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So there's something different about what Sony does with their IPs. Like Nathan Drake has a Sony phone.
Yep. You play Crash Bandicoot, even though it's Naughty Dog. You play it on a PlayStation. Like
It was with the intro. That's so fun. That game holds up. That game looks real good.
It looks great.
But anyway, the branding of this is cool. I like the like character design having very like the like rook or whatever it is on a jacket in red and stuff. I was like, oh, that's kind of like a very unique style. Seems like we're getting a very pop character. The anime look, it looks like I forget her name. It's Anne something that wrote with Neil Druckmann wrote The Last of Us 2.
Okay.
She looks like the person who's dispatching her, like visually.
Oh,
I'm like,
interesting.
oh, is she acting in this game? Like, you look like her, so I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. But the way that music looks like it's going to play a thing with the CD, the Pet Shop Boys playing, but then when she pulls out that sword and the like, the sound waves come, I was like, this game's going to fuck pretty hard.
It's going to be great.
It's going to fuck hard. And then, of course, you find out it's Trent Reznor.
And Atticus Ross. Oh, come on.
Doing the whole score. I was like, this game's going to fuck really. Like, it's going to be so good. I seriously can't wait.
It's going to be so good.
But that's the one where I'm like, how long is it? Because it was like, you know, when the original trailer for The Last of Us came out, I think it was 2017. So then 2020 is when the
3
game
years.
came out. And I was like, we just got a trailer. Like, this game is going to be...
It's going to be a ways away.
It's going to be a long ways away. So it's nothing to really be super hyped for, but...
It's really interesting because I was thinking
also.
about it because I was like, I'm going to play this now. I've done all The Last of Us now. Like, I'm caught up with Naughty Dog. And I've played all the Uncharted's now. And I was like, wait a minute. I've actually beaten every Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
Because I did all the Crashes, CTR. I did all of the Uncharted's and I was like,
I didn't do
holy
Jack
crap.
and Daxter.
I was like... They didn't do one of them, right? Or the second and third?
I don't know.
I think I did the first one. I'd have to double check. I might have to check because they might have not done two or three.
But game developers change too, where it's like I've played everything modern from them,
right? So
including the Crash Bandicoot remake, which was not them, but
yeah. But I was like, oh,
Blue Point. I think
that's cool. Last of Us was not in the world that I want. This world looks cool. It looks a little lighter, a little bit more fun.
So they did say
pretty
it was like it was more gameplay focused. I think is what they said it would be.
Oh, that's
that
cool.
It was more play, which I was like, oh, that's a really interesting thing to call out and almost say like, well, Last of Us isn't play focused. It's like, well, that's true. It's more cinematic and more exploration and living or something. But yeah, I'm really excited for a game that they're like, no, let's just play and have fun again. I'm like, oh, good. It's not all somber for you guys all the time. And Uncharted felt like that, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But the shot of her jumping off the rock and going for the attack, I was like, that looked really clean. Like, just the movement of it, I hope feels as good.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's like, I almost want to rewatch the trailer and like try to pick things out, but it's like, again, 3 years until this game. What am I going to do? Watch this trailer 800 times until that? It's,
yeah. I mean, I watched the Last of Us 2 trailer like that.
Yeah,
when she's playing the guitar, and I was like, oh, because you can pick out where could she be, where's Joel, how's this work, so it was all the theory crafting stuff. And then the second trailer came out like a year later, same thing with Abby hanging from the tree, clipping wings, that whole thing. I was like, oh, who's that? Where are we? What's the?
And this
but
is even
now knowing everything. There was only one guess in all of that I made, and it was revealed pretty early in the game that I'm like, well, everything else is new. I didn't guess any of this, and I didn't see anyone guess any of this.
And this isn't even like you can go in and with guesses because you don't even know the world because there's nothing pre-established for it. So
yeah,
but still very excited.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to play that one.
It's just, you know, when you measure excitement to distance, my top 2 games being this and The Witcher, I'm like, well, I'll see in 4 years when I finally have beaten either of those games, maybe both. So who knows?
Maybe one of them's been released. Let's be honest.
For real. Like, it's very possible that by the time we get this game, it's not even the 2020s anymore.
Right.
And thinking about that, I'm like, well, Assassin's Creed coming up February. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, that's here.
If it's not in the 2020s, I may be 40 when I play one of those games. I'll still play them. Better believe it.
Well, that's good.
But
that's good.
Well, if I make it that long, we'll see.
To 40?
Yeah. I think I can do 40.
I hope you do.
45 is a tougher call, but...
What did you say at 45?
I said at 45 I wanted to become a cigar guy.
That's right. You're like, if I make it. I was like, you just said 45 had a milestone.
If I make it at 45, because I was like, well, I didn't really smoke weed until late 20s, early 30s. I didn't do a lot of kids in my school.
Not even really.
High school.
Oh, you mean period?
Period.
Oh, okay. I was like, dude, not even really then.
Period.
It was like
2 years ago.
It was like 2 years ago.
In my 30s, I was like, let me get into weed. So now I'm like 45. Maybe that's a cigar
I would also
time.
argue you're not into weed.
Oh no.
You're into getting high.
I get high, exactly. Yes,
which is a little different because the people I know into weed, they got special trays and they got the grinders. And they got
no.
That fairy dust smells so good.
No. There's two.
You're just
that's
like,
work.
You're like, nah, dude. Screw it in, charge it up, rip it.
Ready to go. Maybe I don't even want to pull it out real quick. Where are the gummies?
Oh, dude, I got great news for you
Buzzing.
Too.
The drink.
So good. Went to Loom. They used to have something that. Do you know what a breeze is?
A breeze,
like a jewel.
Oh,
remember jewels? It was just the little thing you would just toss them.
Yep.
They you didn't recharge them, whatever. Loom came out with one of those. I don't remember what it's called. The Rip. We'll call it the Rip. I think something along those lines of taking a hit. Rip. And it's a cute little thing that's supposed to be pocketable or whatever for people who pocket weed, I guess.
I was gonna say the pen is. I just put it in my pocket.
Yeah,
anyway,
super tiny. But this one. Was a little bit more stylish and it's wider and it's got a wider mouth to it and everything about it. And it's like a slower drip from what I understand. It doesn't get you so hard, but it's for like consistency. It's like a continuous thing.
Gotcha.
Like whatever people microdose or something. Mm-hmm. But the thing was, I was into it. I was like, that's a really cool idea because I can maybe take more hits or it's not going to be as harsh or whatever.
But maybe dial in a little bit better.
Yeah. But the reason I didn't get it was because once it ran out, you tossed the thing and bought a new thing.
Oh yeah, no.
And I was like, with batteries and stuff like that, like it has a battery in there. And I was like, how do you recharge it? You can. Okay. Then what? They're like, well, you just recycle it. Of course, is what they said. But they have that now with an interchangeable head, so you can just buy the new head and a USB-C port on the bottom. So it's the same exact product. It's just now rechargeable.
Yeah.
It looks very cool. I have nothing. I'm just into the branding of it.
Gotcha.
So this may be a recommendation to you.
I realized my pen is old
or whatever.
Based on because someone else was telling me about the pen they have. I was like, no, I don't have that pen. And I looked at the website. I was like, oh, my pen's gone. There's a new one now.
So Lauren bought one.
Oh, okay.
When we were there, and they have a dark blue and one that's like Gucci, but it's all the Loom symbols on it. It's really cool. But they've all got like dials from what I saw on the bottom, like changing the wattage. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I have that one. But
I just got that one not long ago.
They've got buttons that change the wattage.
Maybe it is on the
click.
buttons to do it now. But they all seem like ones you could interchange the wattage.
Yeah.
They didn't have that before. Talking about weed on a podcast.
Whatever.
Makes me want to buzz them.
Hey, but we got to wrap up because I got to get going. I got to go pick up Bethany. We got to get going to a movie. I'm going to go see Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim.
And I've got stuff to do.
Cool. So we're going to get on to that. Did you have anything else about the Game Awards before I do that? Do you have anything else and lead it to the
Just
outro?
watching it.
Literally
Watching it. The Oscars, I never watch and at the end go, man, I love movies. Mm-hmm. Almost every time I watch this, probably because there are so many trailers and things, I go, God, I love video games so much. Like hearing people talk about the games they have and seeing the videos and the visuals and hearing the music from it, I'm like, God, video games are really cool. And I see all the trailers, I see all the different genres represented, and the people I know that like playing games, they like playing competitive games, they like playing shooters, they like playing fantasy, MMO stuff. But I'm like, when's the last time they played a platformer? When's the last time they did a top-down ARPG, a cozy game? When's any indie title? Just name an indie title. When's the last time they played one of those? I feel very comfy in how diverse I game, and it makes me feel good knowing there are other people that just like all games in that same way. Of like, it's not the act of gaming per se. It's almost like celebrating different mediums.
That is exciting. It is strange that we don't get world premiere trailers at the Oscars.
Yeah,
it's so old.
It's the Super Bowl makes sense because it's got so many eyes on it.
Yeah,
but it's just like, man, the Oscars must not have enough eyes to be like, hey, we're gonna premiere Superman.
It's either not enough eyes, or it's just because the Oscars have been happening for so long, and it's like almost
it feels
from
too
before
traditional.
the trailer. Yeah, it's like
well, the Game Awards just celebrated 10 years. The Oscars is over 100.
Is it 100?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Or it's approaching 100 at the very least.
I thought it was like the 98th Oscars.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's getting to 100.
Somewhere there,
you know what I mean? Where 10 versus 100,
very different.
Difference in
different
this
worlds.
day and age.
Yeah.
10 years ago was a very different world, just period.
Yeah.
20 years ago, oh my God.
Yeah.
So 100 years. Oh.
Because I think about the Oscars and I think about the host that's doing like skits or whatever in between. I'm like, this would be a lot better if it was the world premiere trailers of movies or teasers or announcements. But I guess each company kind of has their own time they do announcements. But you would think...
No, it's just, I mean, there's 5 major players in filmmaking. Major.
Yeah.
To speak to very large majors. But in video games, you have 40 companies that are
That's
like...
fair.
Maybe you could probably name like Capcom is a major, PlayStation, Bethesda. Like, I don't know what you'd start picking, but... For the 5th one, you could find an easy 6th, an easy 7th. But after WB and Paramount and whatever, Disney, you start going, okay, now we're in indie film.
Yeah. Players are just too big. That's probably, yeah.
Well, and it's nice too. It's not too often that, like, Ridley Scott has a name that's big.
Yeah.
But he also has Scott Free, the production company.
Mm-hmm.
But they're often tied together. M. Night has his production company. Nolan has Syncope. Like they've all got theirs. But it's like Joseph Fares. Like sometimes it's nice to see there's a company that is whatever, High Star Studios, whatever they were called. And then there's the guy that you know from that studio. Mm-hmm. And same thing with Ted Price from Insomniac. Like there's something more personal about them. And I'm like, the guy who's in charge of Insomniac, Ted Price, I like him. The guy in charge of WB, Zaslav, we don't like him.
Yeah.
There's something different about games, and it felt more celebratory having the guy that created the jobs listings for everybody and stuff, his like Game Changer Award, I think they called it. Yeah. That being the first year for that. It just felt so, and also they're bringing up layoffs and difficulties of the industry, and we're at a bubble, and them like very candidly addressing a lot of things, which I don't know if you heard or saw, but Jeff speaking on that, I was like, this is like real. Like you're talking about this as if there's real people involved and everyone's like happy to be here and we should all lift each other and all that stuff. It felt very positive.
So, in the great words, fuck the Oscars.
Fuck the Oscars! You're right, Joseph Fares. Fuck the Oscars. Yeah. I'll watch them this year, though.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd still check them out. What am I going to do now?
Oscars 2025, what are you going to do?
Not watch it? Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Well, then we will start to wrap up because, like I said, I got a movie to get to. But thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. Tron, it was good to hear from you. Anyone else that was lurking and all that good stuff. We'll be back, like I said, Wednesday, tomorrow. I'm doing a stream with a bunch of different people, so come hang out then. Stokes, did you have anything else?
I got nothing.
Then we're going to sign off as we always do and say sweet dreams, and we'll see you for breakfast.